Coming up on Windows Weekly, Leo's not here, but Paul and Mary Jo are here in studio to talk all about Build. We've even got some special guests in studio and a whole lot more.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul THURROTT and Mary Jo Foley, episode 318, recorded June 28th, 2013. Let's start with H8.1.
Windows Weekly is brought to you by ShareFile. Enhance your workflow. Send files of almost any size easily and securely with ShareFile from Citrix. Try ShareFile today for a 30-day free trial. Go to sharefile.com, click the radio microphone, and enter Windows. And by Carbonite. Automatically and continuously back up your computer files to the cloud whenever your computer is connected to the internet. Just $59 a year. Try it free at carbonite.com and use the offer code WINDOWS to get 2 bonus months with purchase. And by Go to My PC from Citrix. Go to My PC connects you directly to your Office Mac or PC from any other computer or from your smartphone or tablet. Sign up for a 30-day free trial today at gotomypc.com. Use the promo code WINDOWS.
It's time for Windows Weekly. This is the show where we take a big, long look at Microsoft. I'm obviously not Leo Laporte. I'm Ayaz Akhtar. I'm filling in for this very special Build edition of Windows Weekly, and 2 people are joining me. They refused to join me on Skype, so they showed up in the studio. We got Paul THURROTT and Mary Jo Foley. You guys are not in television screens this time. You're actually here.
You're not Leo?
I'm not Leo. He does look different on Skype. I mean, it's always the beard. People think they confuse the beard, and they're like,
the camera adds age and
removes pigmentation. It absolutely does.
Facial hair was not as obvious on Skype.
I just thought it was like a Google Hangout kind of deal, right? They just want to smack a mustache on somebody. So you guys are here for the Build conference, and you made your way to the studio.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Yay. We're doing well. We have our beers in hand.
It's been a long week, Al.
Yes.
Whatever your name is, sir.
I'm Ayaz Akhtar.
Ayaz.
Ayaz.
It's a trap.
No.
Did you ever get that?
I've gotten that.
Okay.
I'll get to that joke at some point. So we have no format today whatsoever because normally we have a rundown, and I try to keep up with what's going on. But the Build conference has been going on for, 3 days, and tons of news. So we're just going to just go around the table and just talk about...
I think we should just explain that it was a week-long apology by Microsoft. Windows 8 was not done to spite you. We're sorry. And,
the end.
Yeah, the end, yeah.
It took them 3 days to do that.
And we hope you didn't want anything else because that's all we got.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, we had Windows 8.1 previewed, right? We finally saw this. This is all the revisions. Julie Larson-Green comes out showing off a start button that's back. That's, well...
She was like the Roadrunner. You had to kind of watch it in slow motion or you would have missed it. You know what I mean? She kind of came out and then left.
Here's your start button. I
think she saw me in the front row and she got nervous.
You think so?
I would have. I don't know.
Is that your effect?
I don't know.
Julie Larson-Green?
I've been critical.
No, but it was great when they showed the start button. Everybody applauded.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that got the huge resounding applause.
By the way, more important in some ways, they actually called it the start button.
This
show was actually the first time they called it the start button.
Right. What did they call it before? Tooltip?
Well, they didn't really say.
It was called the old sliver thing for a while.
They used to call it the start tip.
Start tip.
Yeah.
Start tip.
Right. That was useless because you'd go down to that corner. I still have it on my Windows 8 machine over here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of useless. Is it going to show up at some point?
There it is.
There it is, doing nothing.
Right.
But now there's a flag that does nothing. It just brings you the start screen back.
It does stuff.
What does it do?
Nothing.
No, if you right-click on it, it does things.
Yeah. You know, it has the power user menu.
Right.
Was shut down, right?
It can shut down the thing back from the start button again. That's great.
Did you applaud any of the features of Windows 8.1? What got you fired up about that?
The press aren't supposed to applaud, right?
Right. Unless it's an Apple event, by the way.
I actually stood up. I stood up and applauded for the start button.
Did you?
I did. You missed that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, by the way, if you're hearing like laughter, it's not just in your head. We actually have a large studio audience today. I don't know if we can get a shot of that, Alex. Alex running the board. We've got a bunch of folks in town. And we'll do that every single time we want applause.
Right. Well, like, for example, start button.
Yay! Woo! See?
It's so cheap. It's so cheap, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Well, we also have my pack of Vista cards. So these are
Nice.
these are certified playing cards
Wow.
from way back when Vista was a thing.
It's all jokers.
Oh,
It
no.
is.
Actually,
Oh, is that the joke? Is it really?
I only pulled out the 2 jokers. That's all
funny.
I got out of the card deck. But yeah, so we
I
got
thought I destroyed your joke there for a
Kinda,
second.
it's kind of like start buttons for all if you want
Yeah,
the
yeah.
old
It is.
flag back.
Yeah.
Okay, so what got you to cheer? Anything?
All right. First
What
of
got
all,
you disappointed?
I'm
How
not
about
the
that?
cheering type.
You're
but,
not really? You seem like so giddy.
I know. I'm like a little schoolgirl. But no, I honestly, I think that the most important thing they did with 8.1 was they made it really good for people who are just on tablets where you don't have to go to the desktop as often. But on the flip side, they also made it really good for people on the desktop like me who don't want to go to Metro all that often or at all. It's not quite 100%, but I think that's a dramatic improvement over the first release. So that's good stuff.
So instead of diving back into the desktop, going to control panel, finding these things, these are supposed to be built into this new UI.
Yeah, it's way less jarring, I think is the way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that really something you want to hang your hat on? It's like, hey, Windows 8.1, less jarring.
Yeah.
Look,
I know.
when you cover Microsoft for a living, as the two of us do, you take the minor victories. You know, like this is less jarring is good.
It is.
So what else we got? You guys got some free tablets, right? You got the Surface Pros handed out, and the Iconia
Yeah.
8-inch
Yep.
is it W3? Is that what it's called?
W3. Yep.
It's this. Paul, you did a review about it. Hands
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
It was a nice little scathing article of.
Well, okay, so just to go back in time a bit, last September I was out in New Zealand and they had a prototype version of the W5, which is I want to say it's a 10-inch tablet that Acer made. And at the time I thought that was really impressive. I saw it, I picked it up, I played with it a bit, and I thought, this is a neat idea because you could dock it, put it on a big screen, keyboard and mouse and everything, and then when you carried it around, it'd be really great. But it was running on an Atom processor, still is, I guess, and 2 gigs of RAM, kind of low performance, and in use it wasn't as exciting as I thought it was at first. And so it's nice to 9 months go by and then you can buy the exact same computer but with a smaller and much lousier screen, and it's disappointing.
But it's only $379, and yours was free, and you still hated the thing.
No, it's not about. It's okay. It's a gift, neat. But I still have to review it as a product. And I can't recommend that anyone spends that kind of money on it. I just don't feel that it's worth it. So hopefully there'll be other. Well, we know there'll be other mini tablets. Hopefully some of them will be of higher quality.
And Microsoft showed off the 8-inch tablets showing the start screen in a portrait mode just looked like a giant Windows phone.
It kinda did,
it's like,
yeah.
why isn't this OS on the,
And by the way,
smaller screen?
That's actually one of the problems with that tablet is because it's, I don't know if it's 16:9 or 16:10, but there's something about those form factors where you put it on its side and it looks like it's this tall.
Yep.
There's just some weird effect. It looks
is.
normal like this, and then you turn it that way. And
Suddenly it's like, whoa.
And I hate to give kudos to Apple, but one of the things they got right with the iPad is it's a 4:3 screen essentially, and that form factor just is better for that kind of device.
What are you saying out loud? Kudos
I
to
love
Apple?
iOS, and I'm switching today. Sorry.
That's what the bill. Wow.
Yeah.
The build apparently scrambled your brain. Then Microsoft also showed off a quick preview of I think it was PowerPoint.
It was.
a touch-based PowerPoint for I think it was Windows RT actually.
Yep.
What did you make of that?
So it was a really quick glimpse of what we know as codenamed Gemini, which is the Metro-style version of Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and OneNote that's coming out. Well, this was the interesting part. We thought it was coming out this fall,
Right.
but Microsoft told us this week not till 2014. So I think they're lying.
You think it's going to come out earlier?
Yeah.
That's quite a charge, Mary Jo. What do you base that on?
No, because I asked them when I saw it, I'm like, wow, so that's Gemini. It's coming out in October, right? And they said, no, you were wrong, and it's coming out in 2014. I said, oh, so you're late.
Nice. They're like, well,
Right. So I kind of put them in a corner, but
Yeah,
I bet that it's still coming out this year. Because, okay, why
on.
wouldn't that come out this year?
do you find it a little odd, though, that thing that they showed could have been anything, right? They
Yeah.
never showed any UI.
They said it was the alpha, though.
They say lots of things. They said
know,
people would
I
love
know.
Windows 8. Look, it's there was no way to understand what that was.
I know.
It was a PowerPoint viewer. Even Julia Lashley-Green, I think it was,
Yeah.
kind of said something along the lines, that's all they could get done for now.
Yeah. It's an alpha. It's an
Yeah.
alpha.
It might as well have been the HTML5 app. It's in full
Right.
screen. It just
Right.
seemed like, okay, we're going to see a slide.
Yeah.
Wow, that's power. It's the idea of trying to bring Office moving that to desktop version of Office into to the
Right.
The question is
new
going to be
UI.
where that thing falls, right? So if it's Office Mobile, we're going to have waited a long time for nothing.
I don't think it is.
If it's more along the lines of Office web apps but offline, that would be interesting.
It's going to be like the OneNote Metro app. So it's like most of the functionality is there, not all.
Yep.
You know, so it'll be like that.
Okay.
But I thought it was interesting. They actually put a date on it and said 2014, and I just think that's their worst case date. They're giving us the drop dead date, and you know, because the Office team, like the Windows team, loves to you know, promise things so then they could say, "Hey, we're early."
We over-delivered, yep.
Ta-da! Yeah, so I think that's what they did again this time.
Okay.
Just saying.
Were you surprised that you even mentioned the date at all, though?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
really surprised.
I'm surprised they showed it at all.
Me too. I was
Because
too.
it's so clearly not there. you
Right.
know.
Okay, now Windows RT was mentioned a couple of times during the build conference.
Was it?
Yeah, like by like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
It was.
surprised it was mentioned at all. I was figuring 0.
Like the 30-minute segment on brand new devices coming out this fall.
And
There
then
was one.
One
There
RT
was
device, right?
Yeah.
the
yeah,
Dell. Yeah,
But,
Okay.
So that thing is still going to be around for some reason.
it is.
Why?
I don't know. Beating a dead horse is maybe the wrong phrase, but you know
Okay.
they've made this kind of engineering commitment, and I think they're going to go ahead with it. So
Yeah.
When they have the 8-inch devices that are
Well-
under $400 and they're running Intel processors,
right.
the draw of RT is starting to wane a lot.
Maybe not. I mean, you know, it's interesting because a Windows Phone device on relatively low-end hardware, it performs really, really well. And then you go to Windows RT on similar hardware, and it performs really, really poorly.
Yeah.
And I think that through some combination of Microsoft understanding ARM better for mainstream Windows, ARM devices getting more sophisticated, that some future version, whether it's Surface 2 or
Right.
RT 8.1 or 8.2, however it works, it will eventually make sense from a performance standpoint. And I think that's the big issue right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I brought an RT device with me for the show so I could upgrade it to 8.1, right?
I know. You're going to tell the story.
And well, I will eventually, but I mean, I normally
That's a tease. ladies and gentlemen.
I wasn't trying to tease it. I mean, the point was just that I don't normally do that because the performance is just so awful. I mean, just for things like I want to rent movies, you know.
But you know what it's good for? You know I love my Surface RT.
I refuse to believe it's good for anything, but please surprise me.
It's really good for browsing your mail, like on the weekend when you don't want to turn your regular PC on.
I don't know.
Because you know when you're in my giant apartment,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you don't feel like going over stepping 2 steps over
Sure.
to the
Right.
machine.
right. You're not really selling this.
No, okay, sorry. It's good for Notepad.
Like when you're sitting on your couch watching TV, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that. I don't have a couch
See?
or a TV, but that would be a scenario for some.
I assume that would be very pleasant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't you just use your phone for that?
No,
Yeah.
because you know what? The screen
phone
is
is a
still
little- yeah,
small.
yeah.
The screen is small on that?
It is.
That's not so
it's
bad.
not that small.
The
But
really-
8X, I know a lot of people like the 8X. I know Alex likes the 8X.
There's
Yeah.
going to be some convergence where the software evolves, the ecosystem evolves, the hardware evolves,
Right.
and all of a sudden it will make some sense.
And there was about
And then they'll cancel it. Just like the Zune. God damn that.
there was like
Okay.
oh boy, and Alex also still has the Zune in his car. That's
I
his
have
media
mine.
player.
I use mine still.
The patron saint of lost
I
causes.
use mine.
And you ordered a Kin too, right?
I think they're selling those on Woot now for like 19 cents.
I'm gonna get a whole bunch of those myself, I think. So there was 30 minutes spent on hardware. They showed off a bunch of devices. Anything look cool? Because I saw some really crazy form factors. We've been seeing that come out a lot. There's some bizarre hinges on these devices nowadays. You got slider form factors.
Yep.
Is this all gimmicky now, or are we gonna see something really emerge?
That Samsung that they showed.
The super high res one.
That
yeah.
was amazing.
The one with the awful what product name? It's like a.
Yeah, it's an
I think
AT.
it was like a Dodge Spectrum ZX.
What, the one that runs
Z28.
Android? The
Not
Achieve
that,
Q?
not that one.
Oh,
That one's weird.
that one's the weird one.
No, that it was. What was it? An AT.
It's a native something, whatever the hell
Yeah,
it is.
I forgot, but it was
Achieve
beautiful.
Plus Book 9 or something like
Kind
that.
of like that. Yeah, yeah.
Star Trek V, The Wrath of Khan. I don't know, whatever the name of.
Let's look at it.
Look
Achieve
it up.
Plus Book.
Let's look it up. Use
That's right.
Chrome. You are.
I'm using Chrome.
And Google.
It is called the Achieve Book 9 Plus. I'm not making that up.
Nice.
Wow. I'm just going to put this really poorly together
Yep.
and think like a Samsung
Yeah,
executive.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's the one that has, there's a plus version that's super light, right? And there's,
Yep.
or that's the light one. There's two different ones.
There's a light one that has a regular res screen, whatever that is, and then there's the plus one, I think, which is the super high res.
Yeah, that looked really
3200 by 1800 or something
That
like that.
looked
It's
amazing.
The reason that's interesting is that until about 24 hours ago, running super high res on Windows was a joke, as Sandro could tell you on his MacBook, whatever, Retina. You know, icons are this big, and it just doesn't work very well. But once you put 8.1 on there, they actually got automatic display scaling right, and they did it across monitors. So if you have a big display, you could do it at 100% display scaling, but you have a smaller screen like on a Surface Pro or your laptop, whatever, where you could have it 150, 125, whatever, and it's actually pretty seamless. So all of a sudden, that stuff works. And the side story to that, though, is that some apps are never going to be properly updated to support this, right? So some older apps aren't going to look right. But I know they said that they were talking to Adobe, and Adobe's going to update all their apps to be to support these ultra high res displays, and any of the obviously the Microsoft stuff, Windows 8.1, everything built in, all the icons, all the Explorer stuff has all been updated, and that makes a big difference because as we move forward, I just didn't expect them to ever do that, and that's been a pleasant surprise. So.
Yeah, they actually. They made a point of saying if you have a Windows 8 app now, you don't have to update it for Windows 8.1. It will work. But then they also, I don't know if you caught this, Paul, they published all these guidelines that showed, okay, if you want to make your app awesome, here's the things you need to do to update it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. And so there are things they're encouraging the software companies to do.
But what would be so different about 8.1, developing for 8.1 compared to 8.0? It seems like this has had a lot of revisions when it comes to UI and things like that. But on the developer side, it seems like it's much larger, saying that your apps will run faster, they'll be better if you develop for 8.1. Right. How different is it under the hood that that's actually the case?
They did change some APIs.
By the way, so when Apple releases a product, there's like 379 new features.
Yeah.
According to Microsoft, there are 5,000 new APIs.
5,000 new ones?
5,000. Right?
Or do you mean deprecated and new? Or
they said 5,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's individual function calls or however they're counting it, but there's a lot of stuff there. And the more you kind of play with 8.1, the more you see these things, right? Yeah. There's new functionality around how automatic snapping. So you open an attachment in Mail and it's automatically snaps 50/50 with the Photos app. Yep. Or SkyDrive app you can have next to Explorer or Reading List, and it specifically links up in a certain way. New sharing things. I think this is going to be one of those things over the coming months we're going to see. People will start looking at this stuff and see stuff that we didn't know was in there.
Agreed.
Now, Microsoft's been really hush-hush about this whole Xbox thing. There's like one Xbox at the event. I've heard it's under
under Lucite.
A Lucite. And there's a piece of plywood.
Security guard.
A private guy who's there all the time.
Yeah, watching it.
We saw one that before the bill started that actually had the light on, so suggesting that it was, I don't know, powering a light at least.
Somebody stuck a flashlight in it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, this big empty box.
Yeah.
But Microsoft has not been clear exactly how developers are going to be able to get apps onto the Xbox, considering they were saying at the beginning of the Xbox announcement a couple months ago, saying there's running 3 operating systems. Right. There's Windows in there, there's Xbox. I can't remember what's the third one.
Hyper-V.
Yep.
Yes. And because of that, there'll be some kind of like some power of Windows in this, but they are not talking about this at all during build.
I know.
Is that strange?
It was kind of weird.
With that?
Yeah, it was weird. And then they did the little teaser, right?
That was so awful.
That was awful. So Steven Guggenheimer, who is the head of the developer division,
was otherwise not awful, we should say.
No.
Right.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
But they kind of threw this thing out there and they said, so if you're a game developer and you want to know how to develop games for the Xbox.
Well, you got to do the Dr. Evil thing, because he was like, well.
I know, he did. Well. He said, start developing for Windows 8, and that is what you need to know. So
for 8.1 though, right?
Well, it was seriously. They had a screen full of code up on the screen, and there was some kind of namespace thing going on. I don't remember what it said exactly, but it was system.xbox. Something. It was like, oh, look at that. Does that say Xbox? What could that mean?
Right.
Like, I mean, could you be more coy?
I know. And so the message is the core is Windows 8. It's the shared core across phone, Xbox, and Windows 8, right? And so they're saying, if you can develop for one, you'll know how to develop for the other. But it's not technically true.
No. So I think the deal is that
I called them a liar again.
You obviously.
You cornered them and they panicked.
No.
2014.
Sorry, no.
I do think it's gonna be basically a Win XRT type thing.
Yeah, it is.
They didn't say that, but I've always felt like that was the right way to do it, and it seems like based
That's what
on
it's gonna be.
based on the way they said it.
Yep.
So we're actually gonna have apps from independent developers?
Well, in other words, you can share code between projects. You could make a project for a Windows 8 app. You could make a project for a Windows Phone 8 app. You could make a project for an Xbox One app.
Okay.
And that these things, they're going to be again, namespace differences or whatever. So there'll be different APIs and so forth. But by and large, you should be able to port those things pretty
So it's not write once, run everywhere.
No.
It's write 3 times and run on 3 different things, yeah.
Yeah, sounds really seamless. It's going to run exactly the same on every device.
Yeah.
I was wondering if the big issue for Microsoft was the Connect. If you want to have a lot more interaction versus a traditional PC setup, although they're bringing all kinds of weird things to the PC anyway with the Connect. $400, I think, for PC.
Yeah.
$400.
You know, $400 for a PC is a good price, but you know, people are really freaking out about the $500 Xbox thing. It's interesting.
It's funny.
Let's see what else has happened in the news, huh? Anything?
Well, yes.
I have one. So I actually thought, like, kind of the sleeper announcement at Build, which I still haven't written up, but they talked about Bing as a developer platform at Build. And that was a huge thing. I think it kind of went over a lot of people's heads because they didn't really thoroughly explain it. I mean, there were a lot of sessions on it, but they didn't totally really try to get into the nuts and bolts. But, you know, right now, everybody, when they hear about Bing, they think of a search engine and one that's not very big in market share. But Microsoft's now going to position Bing as a platform. So they're going to take all these APIs that they have for Bing, plus all of the back-end services powering that, and they're going to license all of that to developers. So you don't just get the APIs, you get all the service behind it too. So it's kind of an interesting way to do it. And I wonder if Google's going to do that. I bet not. But that if they don't, that I think could give Bing a very interesting leg up if developers start putting these packets of services and APIs into their applications. It could actually be what Bing should have been all along.
It's right. So you're going to see things like applications that can integrate into that smart search feature in Windows 8, right?
And the voice and the translation, and they showed some things where you could just like talk to your app, and it was because of Bing.
You know, if Windows Phone ever gets updated, potentially there'd be some kind of
one day.
What huge Windows Phone news during the
please.
2 phones for Sprint.
Right. It was like day 1. Here's 4 phones. 2 of them are shipping now. 2 of them are coming out in 30 days. None of them are running new software.
No.
There you go.
And then day 2 was like, hey, we have 3 new apps for Windows Phone.
I know.
And they showed up that Bing powered app. And they showed this idea of what was the 3D imagery.
Right.
Using those APIs for your own apps. Are people really going to take advantage of this? Is this something that the 3D imagery I thought was kind of a cool gimmick, but what's the appeal for a developer? They're going to be like, oh, I can make a Foursquare competitor with 3D images. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Yay. Maybe I'm not as creative as developers.
Yeah,
so.
maybe somebody will come up with some crazy application using that. I don't know.
I think the big Windows Phone news, though, was Alex's phone this week. We have
Yeah.
we see this? Is there a way to show this?
I think we can show that. I think Alex is panicking right now because he's in pain. Here we go. There it is. That is the late great.
We flush it down the toilet like it was a dead goldfish.
But it's not dead.
It is dead. So these things are supposed to be kind of indestructible. What happened?
Yeah.
Well, you think of Nokia. This is an HTC.
Who or what happened to this, Alex? How would you describe the disaster that is this phone?
It was knocked out of my hand on accident by somebody.
You want to get on the microphone there?
It was knocked out of my hand on accident and hit the concrete face first.
The person, would you describe the person as irresponsible or
Loud.
culpable, perhaps?
No.
Maybe first.
I may have been engaged to this person at one point in my life.
That is true if you check out Google Plus and Facebook.
So we don't usually do live gags, but apparently Alex has a new phone, so we're going to do a live unboxing event.
Okay, so we've got Alex's new phone.
I just hope it's like a 1981 Nokia phone. Oh, pretty close.
See, now when I said that out loud and he gave me that dirty look, I knew I blew this.
Oh, look what it is.
It's akin to. It's akin to.
Awesome.
By the way, in Canada they call this a hockey puck.
Wait, is that a Roku box? What are we looking at here?
Yeah.
Well, you know, if you like tiles, the Kin had tons of them, little green tiles everywhere, very similar.
Oh yeah.
Had a UI that I think got stolen eventually.
Kin was one of those things that could have made sense, you know, if Microsoft hadn't made it.
Are you actually going to use this phone now that your 8X has met an untitled
Do you want me
demise?
to move the SIM over to the Kin?
Yeah.
The SIM to the Kin.
I'll take it to Verizon and see what they say.
Look at you like you're crazy. They're like, what is this?
That's crazy because I have an 8X. I've dropped this a million times on the streets of New York.
Do you want Liz to drop it again?
But
No.
not face first on concrete, flat, just smack.
Boom.
Gorilla 2 or 3?
What's that?
Was that Gorilla 2 or 3?
Gorilla 2 or 3 glass.
Oh,
I don't know.
probably 2. It's like
I don't know,
It's from last
Well,
month. Yeah, I think it's 2.
we need more than Gorilla Glass for 8X there.
But, well, what I learned about that, I didn't realize the glass extended down the entire face. That's one sheet of glass right
Do you
there.
have a case on yours?
I do.
Maybe that's why you survived. because
No, it
wouldn't
fell
land.
this way.
Right, but there's a tiny lip right here.
Come on.
That could have.
No.
Well, it could be enough to save a phone.
No.
1 millimeter.
So
I'm not going to check your phone.
So are you suggesting that it was Alex's fault because he didn't protect his phone?
Well, he had an unprotected phone. That's a dangerous thing.
He did have it out around Liz.
There are all those PSAs about unprotected phones.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so now we have a dead phone. Actually, it still works. Very powerful, very resourceful. But what button broke? It was the search button, right?
Yeah, which is perfect because
it
you
all
always hit that
works.
damn thing
I
by
know.
mistake.
Yep.
Now what's funny is now you're still going to hit it by mistake, but you're going to cut your thumb.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
Exactly.
negative reinforcement.
It's-
Don't do it.
slightly less aggravating than seeing Bing.
All the time.
You know, like when you don't mean to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens on day 2 of build? Day 1, they had a bunch of the keynotes,
Yep.
and I watched the live stream. I was covering for Tech News Today, and day 2 happened, and I'm like, well, let's see anything.
Hadoop.
Aha.
Woo.
No, it's okay. First of
they
all,
did. They said it.
Did somebody just say woo to
Yes, somebody did.
Somebody wooed Hadoop.
Somebody out there said that. Yes. No, they talked about
They said Hadoop?
Azure. Azure. A
They
lot
didn't
of
say Hadoop,
Azure.
though, did they?
They did. They
I
said
must have
Hadoop
been.
like 3 times.
I must have been working on something.
Not that I was
You must have been very excited about
paying
it.
attention.
Did you stand up and clap for that?
I did.
No, I mean, day 2 is the services part of the new Microsoft organization, right? Devices day 1, services day 2.
Right. So lots of Azure news on day 2.
The giveaways on day 2 kind of suck, though, right? I mean, can we agree to that?
Creative Cloud. Creative
Oh,
Cloud.
no, that's true. Oh, my God.
That was pretty
Sorry, I'm
awesome.
sorry.
They give out a Creative Cloud
A year
subscription?
subscription
That's
to
true.
Creative
That's
Cloud
true.
to every paying attendee of Build.
That's
Wow.
true.
That was pretty
That
cool.
was pretty big.
Arguably worth more than any of the tablets they
Yep.
give away in some ways.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I don't mean.
I know what you mean.
I mean from a cost perspective. Don't laugh at that.
No. It was,
What is wrong with
I can't
you?
believe how much you hated that 8-inch tablet because
Yeah.
I don't
okay.
think I have that much hate for something so cheap.
I think you're overestimating how much I hated it. Hate
Your
is-
article was pretty rough on the device.
I'm a plain-spoken person. I'm a simple man.
It had that horrible touchscreen though.
It does. It's terrible.
I just thought it was-
Actually, you know what? Somebody last night at we had our kind of
Blogger
blogger
bash.
meetup last night.
Yep.
Somebody said to me something that triggered exactly what the problem was because I was looking at the screen of that thing and I thought I've seen this effect before. It's got this weird kind of model look. I couldn't put my finger on like where have I seen this before? And I was incorrectly comparing it to when we switched from passive LCD displays to active LCD, and it's got that weird old-fashioned look. And someone said it reminds me of the first generation of tablet PCs. And I said that's it.
Yeah.
Because back then they didn't know how to properly put that touch digitizer on top of the screens, and that effect, that modeled effect, that's the glue holding the 2 screens together.
wow.
That's what that is. And so this cheap piece of junk that I don't actually hate as much as you think I do, has
Okay.
has that same effect that we used to see 10 years ago when the first generation of tablet PCs came out. And that's everything you need to know about that device in a nutshell.
Great conversation. Actually, the guy reminded was me. That was the conversation.
Was it you?
Yeah, it was me.
Were you there last night?
No,
Did you shave? Did you shave?
I shaved a little. Yeah, I got this beard back just for today. I grew it back actually.
Last night was kind of a blur. I apologize.
Was
it
it?
kind of was.
Oh, free beer. That's
Yeah,
gonna
that
do
was
it, I
the
think.
downfall.
Sure.
Downfall. The opposite of downfall.
Well, I know my story is true.
Yes, I do. But yeah, that's why. Yeah, you don't want to have. If you're gonna have a touchscreen experience, you got to have a good one.
Yeah.
Not like Paul's laptop here.
This is a perfect touchscreen experience because when I touch it, nothing happens. You know,
You're rocking a 15-inch Ultrabook from Samsung. Probably weighs what, 3 pounds?
3 pounds. Yep.
And you didn't bother to have a touchscreen.
No, first of all, I bought it in August of last year, so there were no touchscreen options. This is before Windows 8 came out.
Okay, fine. And so you're still using 8.1.
Still using what? It's like 9 months old. Why?
Because you can't interact with it properly.
What am I like? I'm like one of the Kardashians. There's like new computers that come out, like like.
The T Book 9 Plus. I would have sworn you would have gotten that by now.
All right, someday.
One day you'll have a touchscreen.
I
with
like
the
this
rest of us.
computer.
You don't need a touchscreen.
Thank you.
For Windows 8, you don't need a touchscreen?
No, he should run Windows 7.
Okay,
Yikes.
that's
Jeez.
yeah. You're just booting it
Like
on
I
desktop.
do on my laptop.
All right.
I got an XP IBM ThinkPad over there on my
Nice.
desk. Actually, it does say IBM ThinkPad because it's that old.
Yeah.
And it runs XP just fine.
Well, this runs Windows 8 just fine. So.
Yeah.
It's running 8.1, so you can boot
Yeah.
to desktop. You'll never even
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that you're doing something
Right,
different.
right.
Let's take a quick break and let's channel Leo Laporte for ShareFile.
Hey, Paul, Mary Jo, so sorry I can't be with you today. I hope you're having a great time here in the Brick House. Our show today brought to you by our friends at Citrix who do ShareFile. I've talked to you about ShareFile before. It is the easiest, simplest, most secure, and in some cases, the most legally appropriate way to share files. If you're in the medical industry, for instance, emailing patient records is verboten. That's a no-no. It's a violation of HIPAA. So you've got to somehow protect this, and ShareFile is the perfect way to do it. ShareFile is like an email attachment. In fact, it's as easy to use. If you use Outlook, there's a plug-in that makes it just like attaching a file to an email. But you're not sending the file. You're sending a secure link, and you totally control how that link is used. You can say how many times that file can be downloaded, for how long, for whom. There's password protection. You can even get notified when the file is downloaded, so you know what's happened to it. I use ShareFile every week to send audio to radio stations. There are about 40 different businesses you can customize ShareFile for. In fact, I want you to try it free for 30 days, and when you do, tell them what business you're in, and that way they can customize it for you. Now, you'll see the Start Your Free Trial link on the front page. Don't click that. Don't click that. Click the right at the top of the page. Radio listeners, click here. That's the one. So I want you to click that link and then enter the offer code WINDOWS. Now you'll have a chance to choose your industry, and there are a number of great industries. Everything from medical to legal to accounting to advertising, but even video and construction and agriculture. Pick the industry you're in if you can. Otherwise, just use other. And try it free for 30 days. Sharefile.com. Securely, easily send everything from large documents to PowerPoints. No more bounce backs. Track when it's downloaded. Set access controls. You even have access on your laptop or your mobile device to your ShareFile store. It is much better, much more secure than email. Sharefile.com from Citrix. Try it free today. Click the radio microphone at the top of the page there and use the offer code WINDOWS. Now, back to Windows Weekly with Paul and Mary Jo and the gang.
I guess
and the gang?
I'm the gang. Or I'm the rest.
You're more of a gaggle than a gang.
It's kind of like the Gilligan's Island thing, you know? And the rest, that's me. One day I'll be like the professor and Marianne, and I'll add that at the end.
That is funny.
You can call me Marianne for the rest of the show. Why not? Let's just do that.
There we go.
Okay, so we actually, unusually, we have
Unusually?
not that. If I finish my sentence, it'll be good. It'll be a great sentence, Paul. Fantastic. We have in-studio guests. First up, we have Zachary. You might know him as the Zune Guy because he had a Zune tattoo.
I think I have your beer.
We got beer switches here.
Same? Are these the same beer? Yeah. Oh,
there we go.
I have my beer.
Would you like to come up? And so we can yammer with you.
Oh, that's hobby.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know, I've been waiting to meet you, even though we met last night. I didn't realize who you were.
Yeah.
So you might this fellow here. You had a Zune tattoo, correct?
That's the rumor, yeah.
The Zune logo tattoo, excuse me. It wasn't like actually a working MP3 player tattoo.
No.
That would have been really cool.
That technology doesn't exist as far as I know. Yet.
One
That's
day.
right.
You broke my heart, man.
I'm sorry. I try to do what I can.
It was funny though. We were at a party at Bill on Tuesday night, and I saw you, and I said, "Are you the Zune Guy?" And you're like, "I am."
Yeah.
And he was wearing a bathrobe at the party, by the way,
weird.
which he is wearing now as well,
I am. That's right.
Yeah.
with things under it, but not just a.
Yeah, so if you're listening to the audio version only,
Yes.
we assure you
Just
that
saying.
I am actually wearing clothes.
Okay.
Paul is
Just
not
wanted to be
spewing
clear.
beer all over his nose. So you're going to get an Xbox Music tattoo, or how does this work?
Yeah, I might, yeah.
gonna upgrade. But you've removed the tattoo since, right? The Zune tattoo
There's
is no longer.
Zune tattoo on me. Yeah.
What made you get to that decision? What stage of the Zune is dead stories?
Two or three that did it.
Probably the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't when the stories of Zune being killed the first time went out, or the second time, the third time?
I'm die hard. I lived through the first death stories. But then, second or third time they roll around.
They started mailing it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Did you add HD when they added the HD part?
No, I
No,
did not.
you didn't add to the
I
tattoo.
did not.
All right. I'm just curious about that.
Nice. The funny thing about the HD is actually that device was excellent, and it still is excellent.
Oh yeah, it was great in
But
2007.
what we didn't know at the time was that when they released that the team that made that was gone.
They
had already
I know.
disbanded this group.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, too bad.
So you went to the Build conference. What did you enjoy or dislike, or what's your impressions?
Speaking of your mic.
Well, this was my second Build conference. I went to the one last year in Redmond, and
The leaky tent build? You were
Yes,
there?
with the big tent.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. The bat.
The big ass
I thought that was
Big
that's
ass
not a
tent.
Big ass
That's right.
tent? Yes.
I thought that was a euphemism for a second.
The big ass leaky tent.
Yeah.
Big ass leaky tent.
The vault.
Slightly less.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the sessions are really good. I like the sessions, but most of them I watch later. Most of what I go for, I like to see the people there, you know.
Yeah.
It's a great networking opportunity. See a lot of people you don't get to see very often. And it's probably the main reason why I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I watch the sessions later.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they're all available on Channel 9,
Yeah,
so
they are.
why not just go and
It's true.
at least enjoy the company of the people that are there?
Who did you meet? Like, who was your favorite meet that you got?
I mean, besides.
Not us.
But I mean, besides you guys,
yeah,
right? Right,
yeah.
right.
We mean like,
There you go.
Microsoft.
Here's a couple bucks. There's a card. For you.
Oh, 100 gigabytes of free SkyDriver.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. The people at the registration booth that were giving out the free
Yeah,
stuff.
they were awesome, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
No, because there were people there like Anders Heilsberg was there, right?
Yeah.
I met Charles Petzold last night.
You
was
did?
at our party. Yeah.
He was at our party?
Jeff Richter was there.
What?
Yeah.
Scott Hanselman came to our party.
Who cares about Scott Hanselman?
And no, and Miguel,
Right.
Miguel
Am I right?
Diaz-Caso was at our party. Did you see? From
Who?
Xamarin, the head of
Oh,
Xamarin.
so Rafael and I were talking, and this guy walks up and he starts talking. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it was amazing. He says, and he's just talking to us. What do you do? What do you do? And we're just talking.
You didn't
to
know
him.
it was him?
No, because he
kidding?
said
What?
Rafael said, "What do you do?" And he says, "Oh, I work on interoperability with .NET between Microsoft and Linux." And we're like, so it was Miguel.
It's that guy.
Yeah, I mean, talk about like just
He's
no
so
ego.
humble. He is so
yeah,
humble.
that guy was
And
amazing.
awesome. He is.
I got to tell him a story about the Don
Knots?
Bucks.
Don Box, serenaded him at Build.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was there.
Funny. Anyway,
Yeah.
enough about me. What do you think about me? No, sorry.
But yeah, I got to talk to some of the guys that run the Windows Store, go through the app
Oh, yeah.
certification process.
Cool.
Those guys are interesting to talk to because a lot of us had problems back in September, October when we were
Right.
first trying to submit apps, and being able to talk to them now and say, hey, I'm glad you guys got your stuff fixed and got all the,
Right.
a lot of the kinks worked out.
Yep.
And so is it really as fast as they say?
It's pretty fast. I mean, we can get apps and updates out in sometimes less than 24 hours.
Wow.
Weren't you wearing a T-shirt that said I got my app rejected from the Windows Store and all I got was this lousy T-shirt?
Yes, this is actually the matching T-shirt.
What is
This
that?
T-shirt on the back, it has the it says the 1.1 Club.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that we kept getting rejected for was certification number 1.1, which is basically your app is not worthy of being in our store. So that was something that we
Nice.
had to fight with at the very beginning, especially a bunch of us down in Florida. We've got a really big developer community down there.
Yeah, we have
And,
a lot of Floridians here.
Yeah, we do. We've got a
Don't
few
we?
of us guys
Yeah,
here.
a ton
That's
of you
right.
guys came up, which is awesome.
But yeah, we had to fight with the store pretty hard because they wanted the quality, the good
Yeah.
apps in first, and so we were saying, hey, you want volume, you're asking us to produce apps, don't reject them.
Right. What app did you build?
I built a couple of rinky-dinky RSS apps.
Do you do Windows Phone too?
Not yet.
Get off of my podcast.
No. I haven't built for Windows Phone.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just it's nice to talk to those guys and
Yeah.
sort of see the progress they've made as far as streamlining the process and getting a little bit better about making the app submissions easier for us.
Do they still have that
developers.
Domino's Pizza style thing of where your app approval is going?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool.
I thought that was really cool. When people made fun of it when that story came out, and I'm like, that's actually useful.
I like
right.
that.
You
That's
see
something that we like.
Apple goes into a tumbler. You never know idea where it's going to come
the
out.
black
yeah.
hole. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, all right, but seeing
Yeah,
it
and
Domino's
then
Pizza style.
we can actually see where our app is, and if something happens in the middle of it, they'll actually send us notes.
You'll know why.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I
cool.
love that.
Nice.
And audio listeners, the bathrobe is off.
That's right.
If you were curious and you couldn't hear that,
You can sense the trembling in my voice.
Wow. Cool.
And lull.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, it's a really great experience. If you haven't been to a conference like Build before and
Yeah.
you're a developer, even an IT pro, go to something like Tech Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great way to meet people. And yeah, there's a lot of great content, but you can get the content later.
Yeah.
Right.
Go to meet the people.
Right.
There's a lot of really great
Yeah.
people that go to these conferences.
There were like 6,000 people. At
I
Build.
was
Yeah.
wondering what the
I
numbers
asked,
were. It was a big
Yeah.
con.
Yeah,
You
it
could
was
tell it was
big.
big. This
Yeah.
is as big as Tech Ed, I
I
would say.
think, maybe as big as Tech Ed. Worldwide Partner Conference is bigger. But
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That one's huge.
What do you think about the giveaways? You got a Pro, you got a
Pro.
Iconia.
I'm with you on that Iconia. That screen sucks.
Okay.
That screen is terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like to be vindicated. Go on.
Yeah. But I'm really happy with the Surface Pro. You know,
Yeah.
I kind of held out, wanted to see what they did this year. So
Sure,
you
sure.
know. And
But Creative Cloud, were you excited?
Creative Cloud. Now that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You know, and that's one of the things that, you know, we have all the developer tools, but we don't really have the design tools.
Exactly. Yep.
And so now that we've got the Creative Cloud subscription, I think that's going to jumpstart a lot more app development.
Yeah. Nice.
Right.
Yep.
Not really related to this, but they also give out Office 365.
They did.
Yeah.
One
Home
year.
premium, yeah.
1 year home premium.
which-
99
yeah, that
bucks
was
right
nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty nice.
I mean, if you had bought all this stuff yourself, you would have paid for build, right? I mean,
Right.
it's not
I know.
bad.
No, it's actually a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Cool.
So yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming to visit with us.
Well, thanks for having me on.
wanna
I
promote
apologize for
anything?
not noting who you were last night. I
That's
kind of
quite all right. That happens.
talked around it or whatever, but
That's all right. That's all right.
Do you want to promote anything, your apps or anything on while you're on?
Well, I just want to say thanks. You know, we've got a really great developer community down in Florida. You know, we've got people all over the state. You know, from all the way from the Keys up to the Panhandle. I want to thank those guys because without them, I wouldn't be in this community now. And they've really shown a lot of support. I've got another guy here from the Deep Fried Bites podcast.
Yep.
Keith Elder. He's a real good guy.
Where's
And
he?
he's over there. Keith, raise your hand. There he is.
Oh, yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got a lot of great people in the community, and it's something I'm real proud to be a part of.
cool.
Thanks.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thanks.
Oh, we have clapping.
I know. Clapping. Yay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're back on now.
You can.
Sir, would you kindly get dressed, please?
The robe is coming back on, audio listeners. Who would you like to welcome up next?
You know what? I don't know if he wants to come up, but
Who cares?
I want to
Let's
talk.
embarrass somebody.
I want to talk Visual Studio 2013. Rafael Rivera. Come on up.
Coming from his secret NSA hideout. By the way, as I said to somebody last night, you know Prism, right? Rafael is the R in Prism.
Oh.
You guys are good friends and work together, right?
I've never met this man.
So for people who don't know your relationship, you're just like, okay, wow.
Hello.
Hello. It's nice to see you again.
Yes, you too.
No, I wanted him to come up because there was this press session that we had that was press only, and he and I were in there, and Dr. Pizza was with us too. And they were talking all about the next Visual Studio, which has a ton of new stuff in it, right? Like, it's huge. So I thought, who
Could you
better
please
than
enumerate
you?
through the 1,003 new features?
Yeah, let's talk about the thousands of features.
From width to height.
So I was asleep during most of that.
You were?
No.
You were heckling Dr. Pizza, I saw you.
Yeah, so Dr. Pizza and I, that's Peter Bright at Ars Technica. We were talking about C++ AMP support where you can...
this is the C99 thing, isn't it?
You can throw stuff onto the GPU and use the acceleration there, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We did ask about C99 support for those...
just a show of hands, C99 support is important to how many people? Seriously?
Come on, there's 3 of us.
It's not really important to Windows developers.
Could I get security in here, please?
But it's really important in the open source space. The majority of I won't say the majority.
So not important is what you said.
There's a lot of open source out there that relies on C99, which is I'm not an expert in it. Dr. Pizza would know, but it has a lot of extensions in the language that folks use, and it does not compile with Visual C++, and it hasn't for a very long time.
Yeah.
So
nice.
What else? Visual Studio also has this seems really minor, but they have at a glance reference counting on the functions that you're writing. So for example, you're working or you're refactoring some code, and you want to say, hey, who's referencing this function? Do I need to go and look at those, make sure they don't break? Yep. It's actually right above the method. Yep. It's really small text. You might see it in the preview if you download it.
Edit and continue.
Edit and continue. Well, see,
that's been in there for a while.
No, for 64-bit.
It's been available for 32-bit. 64-bit, you would try it. It would throw this annoying dialogue. You know, I'm kind of on the fence on this one because we've grown accustomed to seeing that dialogue and making sure edit and continue is off.
Yeah.
So now that it's in, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think I was talking to Long Zhang about it, and he's really excited about using it.
Can we get to the important stuff, though? Did they get rid of that dark color scheme thing that was...
No, they actually added another scheme. So they added the, I think, Visual Studio 2010-esque blue theme.
Okay.
Yeah. And more colorful icons, right? Aren't they?
Colorful is an interesting way of putting it.
For Visual Studio.
Yeah. I mean, they're like yellow and some other weird colors. I prefer the slate gray, boring.
You do?
Yeah. And then when it's really late, you switch to dark.
Yep.
Let's see, what else?
A lot of this is going over my head completely. It sounds like you guys are very excited about this. What does this mean for like the end consumer if these tools are getting better?
Nothing.
Or if they are getting better.
Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a developer, obviously, but isn't it more, it's going to be easier for people who are traditional .NET developers to write Metro-style apps with some of the features they added? And that's huge, right?
Lots of head nods in the audience.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's more. I've got a so-so with one guy.
Yeah.
So that's big.
Yeah, I think onboarding that community to get the Windows apps pushed out on the market is awesome.
Have you looked at all at the APIs in 8.1 yet?
I have not. I know. That's why I was a little nervous coming up. I haven't gone through that whole list.
Well, there's a giant list, right?
And it's weird because they skipped over most of it,
They did.
right? They're like, yeah, Visual Studio 2013, goodbye.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, we should say that about this build, which was super interesting to me. Microsoft apologized to .NET developers at this build.
Yeah.
They actually did it on the stage.
Oh, I missed that. Wow.
They said, we're sorry. We know we kind of made you guys feel like we didn't need you, but we know we do.
So wait, they didn't say they're sorry for .NET. They said...
No.
Okay.
No. No.
Just checking. Okay.
And that was kind of huge.
Was there any XNA?
No.
Silverlight?
No. It didn't
Did they
go
sell
that
tomatoes
far.
at the door? Yeah.
But that was kind of a big deal.
Right.
Could you imagine that happening last build?
What are they going to apologize for next year? Like Silverlight and XNA? Is I mean,
Yeah,
like, is like a
maybe.
progression?
Yeah. Silverlight, it's back, just like the start button. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's not happening.
No.
And then I think you were talking about it earlier. They had that targeting for Xbox as well. They actually previewed it.
Yeah.
No one really knows how that worked.
Right.
Yeah.
They specifically obfuscated the UI.
Yeah.
But that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
What else?
Did you get to meet any interesting people besides talking to Paul again?
Zach. Zach's always stalking me.
Did he give you a bathrobe out of friendship?
No.
Oh.
But he did disrobe me.
Okay.
Let's see. Who else?
Audio listeners have turned this off now.
Yeah.
The mic's not working. Oh, man. It's so hard. I've come to every single build, PDC, WinHack, all that. It's really hard to say I've met someone new, but Anders is a good one.
And Soma Sagar.
Soma, yeah, we had that session. Seeing him up close is
I know,
pretty awesome.
he's a really great guy. He runs basically the .NET team, right? And also a good part of the developer division.
Right,
So.
right. Yeah, he runs DevDiv, right?
He pretty much does.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Well, they have different parts. Like Guggenheimer runs DPE,
Yeah,
the
fair enough.
evangelism part. So, yeah.
Yep. And they also introduced some new Azure publishing shortcuts,
right.
I would call them.
Yep.
Usually something would take a million steps to do.
Speaking of
Now
which,
you just follow
I mean, how far do you think we are from a full like web-based IDE, like publish right straight to Azure from a cloud-based, browser-based IDE?
That's interesting.
Yeah, I bet they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Already doing it? Yeah. They're clearly moving that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. Because obviously the worst part about Visual
I still
Studio
write
is
C apps,
installing
Paul.
it. Yeah, C99. Who doesn't?
Yeah, that was good.
Actually, I was telling somebody about when I learned to program and Petzold and Straight C and command line, and all that stuff. And as we walked over the food table, and I said, and by the way, that's Charles Petzold right there.
Yeah.
That's what PDC is like. It's so awesome,
Yeah.
Like for all of the Bill Gates, Steve Ballmer stuff. I mean, the people that I really care about at Microsoft, the most of those guys, like the guys who really do the work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I love. Did you guys see that video they showed on day 2 of build, where they showed the people who build Azure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an awesome video because I remember. I'm going to date myself now, but it's obvious how old I am. But Windows 95, when they launched Windows 95,
You were live during Windows 95.
I was surprising.
Oh my God!
Surprising. No, when they launched it, I was in Redmond, and they dropped this curtain, and the whole development team was sitting on the bleachers, and that was so cool.
Yeah.
And it felt like that with that video about Azure, because these are the people who do all the work. They get none of the credit, and they showed some of the people behind Azure, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I don't mean to take away
I'm
from
being a fangirl right now.
I don't mean to take away from the moment, but what they should have done next was say, and by the way, here they are in the front row.
I know.
And given
That
people
would have been
a chance
so great.
to. Yeah.
They could have just lied too. Who wouldn't even know?
I would have stood up and like, thank you, finally. You know. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I did have a question for Mary Jo.
Yes.
What did you think about the lack of a PowerShell 4, is it, announcement or
I know, they didn't even talk
sessions
about
or-
it, right?
I know.
Seriously, is this all you care about?
Jeffrey Snover should have been there, right?
I know.
I know. He was at Tech Ed,
Yeah.
but he wasn't there.
I stopped him in the hall. Were you with me when I saw
I was
him?
there. I was
and
with
I said, so I heard you officially said
Yeah.
PowerShell 4 for the first
Yeah.
time, and he was
all
so
excited.
excited that
He
somebody
was.
caught that, you know.
Yeah. No, they didn't really talk about PowerShell in the main keynote. I think there was a couple PowerShell sessions.
Right. Yeah, I think they're focusing on that dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, it's an admin tool. I think that's
So yeah, I thought it was a very good build. I have to say, there wasn't a ton of news at this build, like new news, but I love the apology. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
That made my whole build, and that and the start button.
Start button. Oh, come on.
We have,
That itself is
No,
an
no,
apology. isn't
I-
it? You just like Microsoft to be the backtracking.
No,
Sorry.
this is like the reduced expectations of a Microsoft enthusiast.
It kind of
you know?
is. Yeah.
It's like, I'll take it. You know, you had this thing in Windows for like 18 years. You took it away for 6 months and you brought it back. I will celebrate that. You know, like I'll take it. I'll take it.
It's
You know?
like their new Coke moments. Like,
Yeah.
here
Kind
you
of,
go.
yeah.
You got your thing back. But it's not.
Yep.
They didn't go back entirely.
It's good.
No menu.
So we need a D start 8 now.
Right.
Yeah.
Get rid of the start button.
Yeah, well,
Somebody's gonna do that.
Right, I've already gone. So this is the world we live in, right? So
Right.
the Xbox One stuff, they do this reversal, and then you hear from all the people who loved it the way it was originally. You know, Windows 8.1 comes out, and then you get emails. So I just installed this thing. How do I get rid of the start button? Like seriously?
Yeah, already.
Like,
I know.
You know, but that's the world we're in.
I know.
Just put a little post-it on it. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Cover it up. Don't look at it.
It doesn't exist. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yep. So that was good.
All right, I think it's time for.
Calling a new
Cake?
victim.
Who just said cake?
Cake.
I must have had cake on the brain.
Is there cake?
Not that I know
Is
of.
the cake a lie?
Oh.
Wow.
That joke is so old. It's like 3.1.
Wow.
No, I'm old.
We're both old.
Anyway, what were you gonna say? Bring up a victim.
Nothing.
You're bringing up a victim.
Which victim are you calling up?
I think we should bring up Long next.
Nice. Mr. Longzang.
Yeah. Thanks, Raph.
Thank you.
That's the like the basketball thing where you're looking at someone but you pass to someone else.
No look pass.
I have a flu, so I don't know how well I'm going to perform.
Please get away from me.
Hi.
So how you doing?
Hi.
Good for you. No.
This is Long Zhang for anyone who doesn't know, but we don't really know anyone who wouldn't know. I started something. Metro Twit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Metro
Metro
Twit.
Twit.
Yep.
Yeah, if there's any bugs, it's not my fault.
Right.
That said, if there are any compliments, he will accept them.
Yes, yes.
And if you have money
Oh,
to
you're
give.
running it.
Of course I'm running it.
That's
we
good.
like to run Metro Twit.
I paid
doesn't
for it.
crash, yes.
I
Yes.
paid for it.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
No.
Right.
Well, we're in an awkward spot.
Anyhow.
So before you beat your exit out of here, what do you think? What's your
Build?
Yeah, about the show this year?
Yeah, there's a few interesting things, like just overnight, I saw some stuff they announced for fonts. You could do colored fonts, so they added the support for that.
That's cool.
Even though that itself is not very interesting, sure, you can have like colored emojis and whatnot, but app developers can actually use those fonts to now do UI elements, which saves a lot of space. They don't have to do bitmaps, and it also scales really well with high DPI displays. So,
Right, which is huge right now.
yeah, that's a really interesting way of them kind of adding something, and then down the road, hopefully, you'll become much more common.
My favorite thing you had on your site this week was you had the new version of the architecture diagram for WinT.
Oh.
It's still blue.
It's still, I know.
They added a few blocks.
Does it still incorrectly have Internet Explorer as its own thing on the side?
No, I think,
No,
no.
I don't
Fix
think it
that.
does. Yeah.
Just a big apology next to it.
Yeah.
Sorry, we messed up last time.
Yeah.
Sorry, the
That's what
diagram
they
was
should
wrong.
be apologizing for.
No, so yeah, so they actually highlighted like some of the few new APIs and some of the updated APIs in one of the sessions that was actually really, really good.
Yeah.
But you ran over a lot of things. There was like only maybe 20 things they covered in that.
Wow.
But yeah, out of the 5,000. So
This is it?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see that.
Everyone's going to see that.
Right.
Remember that diagram from the original build? They posted this diagram that was supposed to be like, okay, here's what WinRT is. That was the first time we ever found out.
Even
what that was.
my children could have looked at this diagram and said, "I'm calling bullshit on that." This is not what it looks like.
Because I remember we all saw it, and we're all in the press room trying to figure it out. I'm like,
this is
what
not.
is
No,
that?
no. I stopped listening because I'm like, no, it doesn't look like that.
No,
that's
no. So this
not
was
it.
supposed to be like all the APIs and how the new WinRT API fit in, and XAML was introduced there, and how that fit in, and the .NET languages and how that did and didn't fit in, and it was super confusing. So this one, is it any better? I don't know.
Well, this looking at it. This is just
There it
WinRT.
is.
This is new stuff. Yeah. So
those are the APIs.
this is not as much of a lie because it's just new stuff and we don't know yet. So give me a week and we'll
Then you'll know.
Then you'll find out that it's a lie.
Yeah.
There's some pretty cool stuff for like point of sale systems, for Bluetooth. Anyone doing kind of gave the moment. There's a few like you can do like Bluetooth controls for those. I forgot that those balls are. They had them on stage. They rolled around. You can control that.
Oh, that's
using
that
Windows 8 tablet.
gigantic like 3-foot ball that
Yeah.
you with your tablet.
That crashed into a stage.
It's like kind of like the Rolly if you've ever seen that from like I think Sony or something. But it's just a remote control. But what is the point of that? You know what?
Well, it just means that you
This
can
is not a
control it using a
common-
Bluetooth 8. Windows 8 device over Bluetooth. Before you didn't have the API to do that.
Oh wow! So you can control these devices using Bluetooth with Windows 8. Oh, they showed off some 3D printing support.
3D printing. Yep.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of unusual to saying Windows 8 is going to be the place where you can print 3D things.
Yeah.
What did you make of that?
Alex could print a new phone case. No, sorry.
I guess it worked. Like he did it on stage at the keynote. He just went
So it
to
must
print
work. Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure like how common those printers are or how
Though I went to the booth, and that was the busiest booth at the show.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to
3D printing
see
is
that.
cool, but it's
Yeah.
so. We're gonna look back and laugh. Like, why was everything we made light blue? You know, like it's got this weird. Oh, like your
Like
shirt.
my shirt. This shirt is 3D printed.
He has to step into it.
Yeah, it's got hinges and things. It really is quite the work.
It's a suit of armor, in fact.
Yeah, that was that was actually kind of interesting, and I think the winner of the hackathon did a 3D printing thing, didn't they?
Yeah, that was Lance McCarthy. So, yeah, he had a 3D printed Apple logo thing, and,
that
this
was
is this
cool.
crazy combination of So it's like you hit the Apple logo as hard as you can, which is beautiful. Let's admit it, and and it sends a signal to Windows Phone, which then interacts with an Azure service, does calculation in the cloud, and sends it down to a Windows 8 device so you can see the results. Right. So it's like every bit of the Microsoft stack is involved, and you get to hit an Apple logo. So I mean, again, we have a winner. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the APIs are built to make carnival games using the internet.
Yeah.
Just take a hammer and just slam it down.
It's clearly a mature platform. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. For carnies, apparently.
So you've looked at some of the new stuff. I mean, is there anything else new that sticks out to you in 8.1? I've not done this yet.
They've actually made a lot of improvements to XAML. So XAML apps run a lot better.
Oh, really?
Although they broke scrolling in the preview.
I saw you said
Yeah.
that. That's horrible. Touch scrolling is broken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally any XAML, third-party XAML app, it's
Just
broken.
broken.
You just can't use it.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is they don't know when they're going to have an update for it.
They have to do it before RTM,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right?
You would think.
Yeah.
It's Microsoft. They'll get this
You
right.
think they would release it with a broken scroll?
No, not RTM. It's already fixed for RTM, but
Okay.
sorry, fixed in the version that's going to be RTM. But
Yeah.
like for the 6,000 people that got the
know.
Surface Pros that have 6.1 on
Oh,
it.
right. So now they're going to run into that issue.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
going to download like the Twitter app, and you're going to scroll, and things just go flying everywhere. It's really weird.
Would you recommend another Twitter solution, perhaps, for...
We're broken as well, unless
see.
we switch over to JavaScript. Then,
Everyone's broken. Yeah.
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of I think new APIs that will just make people's lives easier. Like there's a hub control for both C# and JavaScript that makes it you can have an app that looks like the weather app or the Bing app much easier.
Yeah, I had asked those guys when I saw those apps, I said, so you're going to release this as a template, right? And then-
Right. Well, there's a lot of controls missing in 8.
Yeah.
So adding those back in would help app developers.
Did you find the opening of Bing? Do you see yourself using any of the services that they're offering right now? Because that was a big part of the keynote, Mary Jo, you were talking about
Bing
that.
is the platform.
Do you see
so-
you'll be
Yeah.
using that?
Yeah, I think depending on what the actual licensing is, because I know from previous experience. The Bing Maps API was kind of quite weird with its pricing model, but yeah, if they make it really, really available to third-party developers at a cheap price, then those things just add a lot of functionality, a lot of power to the apps. And if you can do it with just a few lines of code, why wouldn't you?
Right.
Cool.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Good to see you. Now get away from me, please.
I know.
You sick little-
Please go and recover. Thank you.
Thanks. Sandra.
Well, you guys can argue who the next guest is while we take a break. We got to thank our friends over at Carbonite. Leo, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Leo Laporte here. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person. Glad you're having fun in the Brick House. Our show today brought to you by Carbonite Online Backup. Boy, I tell you, if you've got something on your hard drive you can't afford to lose, and I bet you do, whether it's financial records, emails, baby pictures, wedding pictures, you got to back it up. And how much more true is that in a business where it's not just stuff you want or would miss, it's things that could put you out of business, like your accounts receivable, your client list, your suppliers list. If you lose that stuff, you might as well just go home. And I know you're making a backup. It's sitting right next to the computer there. You can look at it right now, right? But think about the worst. This is what backup planning is: disaster planning. What if your business burns down? There's an earthquake, fire, flood, tsunami. These things happen. The backups are lost for the originals. How long does it take you before you reopen business, if ever? So important to back up. Everybody should be backing up. And there's three important features. It should be automatic, so you don't have to think about it. Don't depend on your employees or yourself to remember to back up. It should be continuous. Carbonite backs up whenever your computer is online, all the time, without slowing you or the internet connection down. It's very polite. And, of course, it should be in the cloud, off-site, where it's safe even if the worst happens. All of Carbonite's plans, whether it's the home plan or the plan for businesses, are a single low, flat yearly rate for as much data, all the data you've got, as little as $59 per computer for the home plan. $59 a year. That's less than $5 a month. Try it free right now. Visit Carbonite.com. Click the Try It Free button and use our offer code WINDOWS, and you'll get 30 days free. And when you decide to buy, you'll get 14 months for the price of 12, 2 free months. Automatic, continuous, off-site backup done right. Carbonite.com. And if you're in a business, you better make sure you're doing something like this. You got to. Carbonite.com. You got to back it up to get it back. Do it right. Use our offer code WINDOWS at Carbonite.com, Mac or PC. Now back to Mary Jo, Paul, and Windows Weekly.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just playing cards. I wasn't paying attention. What's going on?
What are we doing?
We have a guest.
Oh, good.
More guests. Who gets to pick? You get to pick this time.
Okay, I want to bring up another member of our intimate Microsoft community.
Intimate? Ooh, I don't know.
Bathrobes, what's coming up next?
No bathrobe. Sandro Villinger, a friend of ours from a long time. Computer build in Germany.
Do you have the flu, sir?
No flu.
Then come on in. Bring it in.
Thanks for having me on. You like security now.
All right.
Can we check your shoes, sir?
Right.
Yes.
Are you now, or have you ever been?
No.
Have your bags been in your possession?
Oh, no.
So what did you love at Build, Sandro? Or hate? You can say both.
All right, so hate.
You want to start with hate?
Just let's start with hate a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
That's the title.
Well,
right there. Let's start with hate.
Well, we got a show title right there. Let's start with hate.
You had me at hate.
And I want to have the H8.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's not real hate, but kind of disappointment about the whole Bing search engine.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing is, for you guys in the US, it all works pretty well. Like when you type in. I don't know, San Francisco, you get the beautiful search results and app recommendations, and they pull some data out of apps like...
You're not going to pull this fancy international thing where it doesn't work in your country, so screw Microsoft.
Oh, well.
Maybe.
So here's what it is.
Here's
what it is. The moment, basically at the very moment, you demoed that on screen.
You tried it.
I tried it. I'm like, wait, what? So on the left side, basically on the German version of Windows, you see the local results, files, music.
Yep.
And then it's just a list, a text list that they basically pull out of Bing Germany.
Like a screen scraper.
Yeah. It looks like, imagine Bing, like just going.
I can't imagine that.
Imagine that. But
I live in the United States. Do you want to see what it really looks like?
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess these type of things happen too.
Yeah.
This is actually a long running problem, as you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Is that the only
What else?
disappointment?
Other hate?
More
Any
hate?
That's a pretty
No,
big one.
There's no hate. There's
Audience
no
is-
hate.
Okay.
It's just acceptance.
I wasn't really surprised by what they did. I mean,
We have low expectations, obviously.
I had no,
Also
I had no
a perennial Microsoft. Yeah.
right.
Wasn't surprised.
Hate or love on the start button?
You know,
you hate.
I was one of the few people, I guess, who never complained about the start button. To be honest, because
There were no people like that, Sandro.
Oh, really?
You don't exist.
Maybe I was the only one then. I guess. Because I mean, I've been running Windows on my Mac. Dare I say that here on
That's
the
right.
show? Productively ever since basically build 2011.
Right.
And like the first week or two, I hated the start button and I hated the the lack of the start button
Yep,
rather,
yep.
and the Metro interface and all. But after 2 or 3 weeks working productively with it, you kind of get used to it, to be honest. And I live in the desktop, and I never really, I didn't miss the start button.
Yeah.
Everything was right there.
You could find you don't even have a Windows key in your keyboard, and you could use it.
Exactly. Just
Right.
hit the Apple key when it goes to the start screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you hit it harder, does it send something to Azure and it goes back?
Oh, that'll happen. But I'm really happy what they did. I mean, I'm running on the Retina MacBook, and as you talked before, the scaling works beautifully.
Yeah. So
finally,
you do it. So you have a MacBook what's
Pro
called?
Retina.
Pro Retina.
Yeah.
So you've put 8.1 on there.
I did.
And so is it
works
fixed? Yes.
flawless.
So what is the default screen scaling on your desktop? Do you look at that?
So the default, it's 150. So
150.
right after I installed it, it got to 150.
I was looking at your
which was
screen
a little
earlier,
bit
and
smaller.
he's younger, he has good eyes, but he's looking at this window that's this big, right? And it's got text in it, I guess. So it was kind of gray, and he's reading it. He's clearly reading it. He's scrolling through it, and I'm like, screw this guy, but you've installed this, and so.
Yeah. So the fonts are fixed basically, so it scales really nicely. It looks like the Mac OS scaling basically. They're doing a good job with scaling, but some of the legacy apps, they kind of look weird.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it looks like very pixelated, like you would put the good old Windows 95 magnifier on it.
Yep, and it's
and
just
that's
kind of pixelates. So
that's
actually,
the effect you
I
get.
talked to a guy last night about this, and one of the companies that has refused to support this is Google.
Right.
And Google Chrome will not support this mode, so it's going to look all pixelated on the side. And frankly, that's going to cause a lot of people, I think, that use Windows 8 not to use Chrome, because Firefox is doing it, and obviously IE does it. And when you look at those browsers side by side, you're going to see a big difference.
I noticed.
Yeah.
All blurry.
It wasn't one of the issues with the UI scaling. I think that the higher res ones, they're set up to like 110%. It's the touch targets. If you're running it on a MacBook Pro, no touchscreen, you're not enjoying the pain of missing that. Is that something you're looking forward to with touchscreens when it comes to actually having targets you can touch as opposed to missing? Because Adobe, it was actually the big problem. A lot of Photoshop things were being missed. You try to hit a clone tool, you hit it in the wrong.
Well, yeah, because the little toolbar things were
tiny,
3x3 icon, 3x3.
Or they'd be scaled up by software by the manufacturers of the PCs that was supposed to help you, but they were off by about a factor of 1, so you'd be completely off.
Oh, so you're not even hitting the right part of the screen.
Right.
I gotcha. Okay.
So that's when I saw this news, I thought this was really huge. I'm just curious about what you think about that for touchscreens.
I haven't run it on. I'm not running it on a like high resolution touchscreen so far. I've only been running it on the Acer. to be quite honest.
So when you compare the screen on the Acer to the screen on your MacBook Pro, how would you?
Like Acer would be 9095 versus today. It was quite a.
You're not gonna get the Samsung Ativ 9 Book Plus.
That looked interesting.
3200.
To be quite honest.
Still look good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But otherwise, I'm really happy with what they're doing. I mean, I'm not blown away because it was to be expected what they did.
Yeah.
Did you find any secret stuff? You're really good at that, like unearthing new things that aren't public.
You did. Yes. Okay. So thank you for asking.
Thank you for asking. I'm not telling you. That you could share with us.
So what I found interesting was I don't know if you guys seen these tips.
You don't have to
What's
whisper.
it called?
No, you can say it out loud.
The tips and tricks app. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And so I dug around in the.
I'm sorry. You don't mean the help app. You mean
no.
something new.
So there's a new tile.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
says
it's like
tips
a help and tips or something.
Help and tips.
Tips and help or whatever.
Something, yeah. And basically when you click on it,
There's nothing
it's
there.
like more content.
I thought that was just in Germany.
And I thought so first.
Because in the United States, this thing looks awesome.
So it basically says coming soon, and so I dug a little bit deeper in the app files.
Oh, you actually found content.
I found not like real content, but some hints and some from what it looks like they're trying to introduce video tutorials, like step-by-step guides.
Every one of them is going to be like that video in the beginning where it's like.
Yeah, I was
is everything you need to know.
Like seriously, I was so disappointed by that because when you start, Windows 8, when you launch it for the first time, you get this like 10-second video, like, and you try to do actually what they're telling.
It's actually like a 3-second video.
It is,
but they just repeat it until whatever it's actually doing behind the scenes is done, right? So you think it's you look at it like, well, maybe it's going to change.
It never does.
It's not going to change.
And finally they're doing it. I guess.
Yeah. Oh, so
because
video
this is,
tutorials.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like they're having video tutorials, step-by-step guides,
really
and so hopefully that's coming soon.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Somebody just asked for bringing back Microsoft Interactive Training.
That would be good.
Yeah, I mean, but they need something like that to be quite honest, because people are getting thrown into that new UI, and how should they figure out by themselves how to use the charms?
Right. Should it be like a video game where you have to go through it? You're
I think
like
a Mac, like a Mac kind of thing, right?
It should literally be. It should be like achievement unlocked. You actually found the charms. We don't know how you did it.
Here's a badge. Here's the start button back for you.
Right. You get the start button.
It is so unnatural to move to the corner of the screen and then go down the side of the screen.
It is.
And you did it. We don't know how you did it. But
Same thing.
Bring up that.
Same thing about like closing an app. How would I mean,
right?
I give this to my mother. I hope she's not watching. And
she's not watching.
No, she's. I mean,
we will email it to her. Alex will get on that.
Oh, please don't. And I mean, I just for the purpose of an experience, I gave it to her and said nothing. Go figure it out by yourself. And I watched her, and even after 10 minutes, no charms. No closing apps and no going back to the start.
Was she like rigging a rope in the shower or something? Like, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. And so that's.
I thought I knew how to use a computer.
But that kind of tutorial is really good.
That would be good.
Yeah. Glad that they're doing it.
Yep.
Good.
Do you meet anybody fun, interesting, famous?
I guess I'm with Rafael. I mean, I've been going to these shows for a couple of years now, and no one.
Jaded
Microsoft guy.
Jaded veteran. Yeah.
You know who I met, who I had never met before at this build was Gurdeep Singh Paul, who is the guy who's doing Bing as a developer platform, and he was really awesome. I never met him before. That was my starstruck moment.
Did you also call him a liar and put him in a corner?
I did not. Next time I interview him.
All right.
If there is a next time.
Next time.
So Mary Jo, are you going to use Windows 8.1? Will that make you switch?
I'm going to try it. I'm gonna try it, and we'll see. I like the boot straight to desktop option. That's cool.
But more important, are you going to get an Xbox One?
No. Hell no.
What if it came with Hadoop? Would you be happy?
If it came with its own security guard, maybe.
It comes in that clear plastic box.
Exactly.
Right.
You're right.
Person.
No, I don't know. No, I don't need one. Sorry. I know. Paul wants to play Call of Duty, but...
Well, with that, I think the Kinect version, you can lean.
Yes.
Because it's watching you. Not like that PS4 where you got to tilt your controller.
Right.
Wow, this is hard.
I want to actually call in an airstrike. I think that's the point, you know?
Wow.
Are you talking about in a game, or are you talking about right now?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of games, I mean, have you looked at the new games at the Windows Store? Are there? I mean, the question is, are there any good games at the Windows Store?
No, there aren't.
No.
You mean on Windows 8? No. And that, in fact, I looked at that just before I came out here because, like I said, I got my RT tablet going again, and I said maybe there's some games I could play. And the truth is, they're mostly really lame. Even Windows Phone blows away.
Wow. Really?
By far, it's not even close. It's not even close. There's an amazing selection of games. Just looking at Xbox Live games, you know, the collection that's on Windows Phone is hundreds and hundreds of games, and the collection on Windows 8 is like 12, you know, or whatever, 15, you know, whatever the numbers. Yeah, it's really small.
And they're all in the top paid category.
And they're all weird ripoffs. It's like Gunstringer, which is basically Temple Run, or some sideways scroller, or, you know, the boat game that's like basically a driving game. You know, that it's just.
I mean, like Gabe Newell at Valve losing his mind, saying how crappy Windows is for all this stuff, basically fearing that Windows Store was going to have a bunch of games because that'd be much easier. You'd be able to have your credit card information in there, buy everything.
Yep.
And they still haven't capitalized on this, even though they have Xbox and they have, I don't know, everything else.
This was the Netscape dilemma. You know, it's in the box, so it's clearly like, you know, they're going to beat us.
Right.
They're not. So I guess Gabe Newell's probably like laughing his head off somewhere. But 15 games, huh?
I mean,
so, yeah.
15 games that are
Xbox Live
good.
games. I mean,
that
Xbox
are
Live.
quite
I'm talking
good,
about
quote
Xbox
unquote.
Live.
Now, what about Project Spark? Did you guys think that was interesting or not interesting? Or?
I liked, let's place the ogre here.
Okay.
I think no. I've always liked the idea of the cross-platform stuff. I feel like every time they make a push in this area, it's for something very specific. I would like to see true platform, cross-platform gaming. I would like to see interaction between devices. If I am playing Call of Duty on an Xbox, that my phone does something interesting that it relates to that game right now. That kind of thing. I think this is possible. I do think it's coming. I just think they haven't really shown it off yet.
When I saw that, it looked like it was letting people make their own games using this thing.
Yeah.
And Microsoft obviously famously has this issue with you have to have a publisher to get on an Xbox One. Would Microsoft become that publisher by using something like Project Spark, where you make a mini game, you sell that through Microsoft, and you can get an Xbox One?
I'd like to get to that point. At this point, I would be happy if they just said we're going to let people make apps. And we'll have an app development process. It'll be just like the Windows Store on Windows 8. Same thing. That would be amazing. We'll get to games. Enthusiast games, great, but the first step is just apps. Just get the apps going. It's Windows 8.
Right.
What's the deal?
Yeah, but at least the Windows Store looks good.
It looks
it is usable.
It's
no longer that
works
useless grid of icons and descriptions.
Yeah.
Right.
It's finally like text descriptions and nice categories.
So how could the Xbox Store be good for a long time, but not the Windows Store? Can they just copy and go, hey, look, we did this good here?
The original version of the store, it was designed for 100 apps. If they only had 100 apps, that thing would have worked great forever, But once you get past a certain app density, they just had these. It's weird because Windows 8 has live tiles, but not in the store. So in the store, they had like unlive tiles, undead tiles, whatever you call them.
Undead tiles.
Basically icons, and they would just be a sea of them. They would just extend off. And there was no way to understand what you were looking at.
And you would scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and you wouldn't have no idea what to what kind of games.
Awful. It was awful. So now it's slightly less awful, which again in the Microsoft world is a huge advance.
That's yet another title kinetic. Slightly less awful.
What's still awful about it is that the categories are now completely hidden.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, they're hidden in a sense that you have to pull down the menu, right click, pull down an app, and then you see.
Although I don't think he meant it as a joke, but whoever presented that, if it was Anton LeBlanc or whoever it was, said previously our entire UI was category based, and so you would scroll, go through the whole thing, and now that entire UI is in that menu now, so you can see it in one screen, right? It's the same exact thing. It's funny. I mean, it's that kind of speaks to how big of a change it is. All right. Well,
you want to throw me out of here?
Yeah, get out of here.
We'll chuck you back over there.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Shall we do Q&A?
Yeah, let's do Q&A.
All right, I got a bunch of questions. You guys, if you're in the chat room right now, if you're watching this, you can ask us questions in the chat room. Got a list here. Mary Jo and Paul will try to answer these questions.
Are we able to handle like in-studio questions?
If they come up to the chair, maybe. They can't. We don't have a wireless mic, unfortunately.
Okay. They could come up to the chair. We could get a line going or something.
We could try that if you want to try that.
Yeah.
Rafael Rivera apparently wants to ask a question.
Yes, sir. You have a question?
When is Mary Jo going to start using Skype?
When will Mary Jo use Skype?
Yes, thank you.
Never. No. I use Skype for the show.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is an intervention, Mary Jo.
You need an Xbox One.
When you don't use Skype, the entire internet breaks.
Okay. No, I'm using Trillion for my IM client right now.
There's booing at that? Really?
Booing,
You don't understand. The problem is when everyone else uses Skype.
Skype is awful for IM.
That's not. I agree.
You agree, and
I
you're
agree.
using it anyway. So.
Right.
Well, we actually had one of the chat room people asked us, why is Skype not updated for Windows Phone? It was updated for iOS, Android with video messaging.
Right.
For some reason, Skype, which I'm pretty sure Microsoft owns.
Yeah, they do.
They don't update
That's
the
a
app.
technicality, but go on.
Okay. They don't bother to update the application for Windows Phone.
Right.
Why not?
So I asked them that, and I don't know if you did too, but let's see if we get the same answer. They told me that you can receive video messages on Skype.
Yep.
Right.
Without hello.
On Windows Phone.
Without an update. Sorry,
yes.
I'm so loud.
Yes. And the reason they haven't updated it, they said we're thinking about what to do about send. So I'm thinking that means they might integrate more of Skype right into the phone OS.
Yeah, so that won't
That's my
delay
guess.
things at all. That's good.
No, that won't
Yeah.
delay anything. Windows Phone Blue 2014.
Isn't Skype built into Windows 8.1?
No.
No.
Dot Messenger?
Well, they're
No, you know what?
integrated. They're bundled, right?
Right. So the way it's going to work, I think, is that most PCs will just ship with that.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's
And you
not
can take it off.
Yeah.
Right.
Any news on indie game developers at the conference?
Nope. And then they did you see they did a
Yeah.
Reddit too,
Yeah,
and they got asked multiple times about indie games on Xbox, and they would not answer the question.
Delicious Whales telling Mary Jo to get an Xbox One. Think of the Illuma room and what you could do with your apartment.
Oh, my whole apartment would be like an Illuma room.
Illuma room, I think, is awesome.
Studio.
I
It
still
would be
think
great.
that's going to be like the Connect.
You think so?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
to extend the life of that
Yeah,
device.
yeah.
It's like,
I think you're right. Yeah.
I can't wait for that thing. I think that's going to be awesome.
Yep.
Let's see. Ayaz and Mary Jo need to chug in order to catch up with Paul. That's
I know,
a
we do.
question. I'm not chugging this stuff.
Yeah,
what-
everyone wanted to know what you were drinking.
Oh, yeah. What are we drinking?
I
What
can't
are we-
tell because it's gone. Hello?
Yeah. Okay.
No, just-
You didn't do your. Where's your thumbs up sign?
Obviously,
do I have to throw my phone at you?
obviously, he doesn't know what he's drinking because he would be
What were you
going a little
drinking?
slower if he knew. This is
Well, if you
Pliny. Pliny from Russian River Brewing.
Pliny the Elder.
Yes, which is a pretty high alcohol beer, but
Is it?
keep going.
That's around 7 to 9%. I've got. What do I have right now? 10th anniversary
Yeah.
Stone Ruination.
I know. We're drinking the best stuff.
This is
Why
heavy.
are all
We
of
get
your
hooked up.
drinks are always so violent?
Well, Ruination. Stone does a lot of things. She's Mary Jo's got a glass from them with Arrogant Bastard on it. That's,
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a great beer.
I watched a documentary on the founder of Stone, and he's kind of like you. He'd name things like Arrogant Bastard. And,
I see. I was
and
wondering where that was going.
Ruination.
He's a great guy.
He is a great guy, actually, absolutely.
Okay.
So let's go back to these questions.
Yeah.
What's the next Windows code name?
So, yeah, that was
Goldenrod?
awesome. So on the stage, they made a joke at Build, and somebody said, "I'm wearing Goldenrod. Oh, the next Windows code name." And so I saw so many people tweeting, "Goldenrod, the next Windows," and I'm like, "No, it's not. We don't know what the next one is, but I've heard rumors of purple.
Yeah, purple.
Purple, I keep
Because
hearing.
this last one was blue.
Right,
We used to
purple.
do cities. What happened to the cities? I
No,
like,
no.
I like Memphis. and
It's gonna
Chicago.
be basically the stages of death. It's like blue, purple, black.
Black.
Yeah. Bright light.
and Afterlife.
You know.
I can't wait for
Yeah, yeah,
Afterlife. Windows Afterlife is going to be
Yeah.
awesome.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be Goldenrod.
So on a related note, I was talking to someone about the code names for Windows Phone, and
Yeah.
you know that up until now, all of them have had an O at the end for some stupid Joe Belfiore affectation.
That's the
Oh,
reason.
but wasn't that based on the? It was Nodo because it's not
Yes.
donut.
Right.
And they,
that was one of them. Yeah,
That's how it kept going.
Yeah, it was like
Yep.
well, it wasn't the start of it, but that was one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So that's over. That's done with. And
Right.
I don't know what the code name is for 8.1 or whatever, but presumably
it's
it's just
blue.
blue, right?
Right.
So, but they are not using O code names anymore.
Right.
They're done.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So they're
I
growing
thought
up.
you knew a new code name. No.
No, I
the
just,
code name we don't got one.
We don't
thank
got
you for the
one.
beer.
It's too bad.
The
What are you
beer fairy
drinking now?
arrived.
The beer fairy. What do you have now? What is that bottle?
It's a Grand Cru, which sounds like a wine, but it is a blonde de degustation.
You want to show it to camera?
Yes.
So,
You should.
All right.
oh, you get the product. That's right. There we go.
Backwards.
That's nice.
All right, Paul. How do you feel about the Celtics?
I don't want to talk about the Celtics or the Patriots or the Bruins or the Red Sox. So,
Well, the Sox are all right. They're the least dysfunctional.
all right. So there are no murderers on the Red Sox. They got that going
Yet.
for them.
Yep.
That we know of, yeah.
Yankees.
I mean, the Celtics are over, so.
Yeah, they blew up the Celtics. So they put them on, but they're old men. It's okay.
Yeah, so someone was talking earlier about that. You were, actually. So I
It
don't
was
know
me.
who it was. Whoever it was.
Someone was talking. If it's someone, it's
some
like
guy,
me.
I don't know, random.
Yeah.
Yeah, the D Brown era is back, is what I'm saying.
Oh wow. So
Except D Brown is now Rajon Rondo.
So it's going to be some really selfish basketball, and he'll
yeah,
coach
some
it.
shimmying. We'll have some of that. Yep.
Shimmies are back.
26 wins. It'll be good.
All right, let's ask a serious question about Microsoft. When is this rumored reorganization happening? Because there's been a lot of rumors that Microsoft's going to change its management structure entirely. Single Windows division, theoretically, which would mean one Windows? So no phone division, no mobile
So this
division,
thing, well, no, this thing has been in flux for a long time. When I heard about this first month or so ago, or but I guess a month and a half
couple
ago.
months ago, I think.
They were literally talking devices and services, right? And by they, I guess I mean Steve Ballmer, because apparently what I've heard since, and I've not heard this personally, but I've heard from Wall Street Journal, like everyone else, that he's not really conferring with people. He's kind of doing this on his own.
Him and the board are making.
Yeah. So what I just heard is that they're going to announce it at the WPC, which is a week from
July 7th.
Monday, right? Or a week from Sunday.
I'll be there.
Yeah. So that could be a big,
July 7th,
big event.
Do this?
Yeah.
Microsoft has an internal event in July called MGX.
Right.
Which is Microsoft Global Exchange.
Yes.
Is that right? And that's an internal event. And that's where they bring the top employees from all of their different locales into one place, which would be an awesome opportunity for a terrorist attack. But they...
Or a reporter break-in.
Yeah. Why are they doing that?
Why would they bring everyone together into one place? I mean, it's like,
it
let's
like
fly everyone on the same plane. What could go wrong?
That was like the plot of X-Men 1. They put all the world leaders together. So you're right. So they'll all turn into mutants. You're totally right.
This is common sense. Anyway, I had heard originally, some time ago, a month and a half, 2 months ago, whatever, that was going to be the point where they announced it, that in the build-up to that, they would basically explain it internally, and then they make this announcement. Now I'm hearing it's WPC.
Well, so their new fiscal year starts July 1.
Which is Monday.
Right, Monday.
Which, by the way, it's like July is Monday.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the Google readers coming.
I have a hard time with the passage of time, so that amazes me for some reason.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, so it kind of makes sense if they announced it just with their inner circle on July 1, then partner show, they kind of broaden that. Then MGX, which is where all their salespeople come, they explain, okay, here's how we're doing it. But we've heard so many conflicting things about what the new org's going to look like. Like we've heard Windows
I think it's literally changing.
Me too.
What's the most believable outlook for, no pun intended, for Microsoft? When it comes to management, that was totally an accident.
That was good.
It just must have been in my brain somewhere. But yeah, what do you think is going to happen with Microsoft? Will they do a flattening? Will they be a single Windows division? Will it just be Xbox versus Windows constantly? Because they need to fight, right?
I know.
You got to keep a fight.
You know what? I think the most believable one I've heard is they have parallel orgs for consumer and enterprise. So they have devices with consumer and enterprise. They have services with consumer and enterprise. The interesting question is going to be, where does Windows sit? I think it sits with devices and not services.
Yep.
And then another question is, do they also have software? Because it's like not everything lends itself exactly
That's the problem. The
to
problem
that.
is that this is not as clean as it sounds.
Right. Like, what do you do with, say, Forefront? I know you're worried about that.
Probably.
I am. No?
I would get rid of Forefront. But okay, yeah, okay.
No, but there's some products that aren't really like a service and they're not a device. So what do you do with those products, right?
That's right.
Right. So
do you think we're actually going to see Microsoft act like, I don't know, a software company where they decide we're going to build for everything, not necessarily worrying about Windows all the time?
Yes.
Because a lot of it's been, we've seen this recently. I mean, their web apps are fantastic. They run on anything. A lot of people seem to forget that.
Right.
I know.
These work really well, even on an iPad.
And by the way, all of a sudden there are mobile apps everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the
so
thing.
I wanted to point something out that you'll remember if you were paying attention during the keynote. The day one keynote was about Windows 8.1 primarily, and that was kind of how it was presented. And then the day two keynote started, and he said, day one was all about devices. I thought, oh, this is kind of interesting. I didn't really think about it as being about devices, but fair enough. And then what did he say next? He said day two is about, and he didn't say services.
He didn't say services?
He said it was about the back end.
yeah, he did. You're right. You're right.
Which is a different way of saying it. And when you say back end, that's how you get Forefront with services,
Right, that's right.
It's almost like he was telegraphing this coming change that even though Microsoft says we are devices and services, which is a very clean way of saying something that's basically nonsense, that makes more sense than services, and it's more encompassing of the servers and all that stuff. So maybe that was a hint.
What did you guys make of the statement by Steve Ballmer saying they're moving to a rapid release cycle? 8.1, this is about a year after Windows 8.
Is rapider a word?
Rapider? It is now.
It's rapider.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think about Microsoft instead of doing like every couple of years? Now we're talking about major revisions every year or possibly every year. Do you think it's that short a schedule?
Yeah, I do. On Windows, totally every year.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Some things more.
Office 365, they're talking about every month.
Yep.
Well, yeah, because you have the
I know you're a
latest one.
service, right?
Yeah, service doesn't make a
know.
difference anymore. But the
you say that
8.1
like it makes sense, but remember that a couple of years ago, Office was every 3 years, every 4 years.
It was.
You know, it was as milestone based as Windows was, if even maybe worse. And for them to make that transition is really impressive. It puts the Windows stuff in a different light when you think about it. Microsoft is busy kind of clapping itself on the back like we've done something wonderful. Like, look, it only took us 8 months to get this point, which is like a lie, right? So it took them 8 months to get to a preview.
Yep.
It's going to take them a year to get to the final release, which, and again, not to be a jerk about it, but basically what you're saying is it took you 4 years to get Windows 8 right, which is fine because Windows 8 is a major release. But like, let's stop pretending that this is a faster thing. You can't just do it once You have to keep doing it. And so they say that that's the plan, and we have to give them the chance to, to do that. But let's see what happens. Windows is the one group I'm a little nervous about. Well, no, Windows Phone I'm also nervous about.
Oh, Windows Phone
for
is
obvious
the one.
reasons.
I'm like, can they pull this off? Because right now they're on like every year and a half, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I know. So Windows Phone, all we know is GDR2 is like July, August, which is the next
very soon, like
version, right?
11th or 17th or something. Very, very quick.
GDR3 fall.
Yep.
Right, and then
what does it stand for?
General Distribution Release.
These are terrible code names.
Way better than the O names.
I know. I love the O names.
No O names. GDR.
I know. And then Windows Phone Blue, not till early 2014. So they're really lagging. They've got to fix that.
I don't know why that is. I've never heard.
Well, I've heard they have to wait for Windows to RTM so they get the core right. The core bits.
Okay.
I don't know. It seems crazy, and then they can build on that.
That's not.
That's supposedly that's the excuse, I should say. Okay.
Well, we got a question.
The carriers too hold everything up. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's something they don't have any.
It is. No. I
wonder about this stuff because if you look at this year, Nokia has had releases all over the place. They've had events in February. They had it in April, May, I think.
July 11th.
June. July now. It's like this kind of a rolling thing going on. So I wonder if the Windows Phone yearly schedule where they announce something in roughly October and ship it in roughly November, if that aligns to anything that the wireless carriers want to do, it might not. Maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know.
When does Windows Phone and RT collide? It has to. If we have these 8-inch devices and you go to 6-inch device on your phone now, are you? When do you start going? Look, we're going to run one OS for everything.
I think it has to get there. It has to. That eventually phone is RT plus phone app.
Because like you were saying with gaming, if Windows Phone has all the gaming, why isn't that?
Right. So by the way,
it runs on ARM.
The Acer tablet that I love so much.
Yes, you do.
8.1-inch screen. It's 1280 by 800. That's Windows phones have resolutions that are roughly that same. I mean, what's the difference? Why can't I have a Windows Phone? Why isn't it the same thing? I mean, why bother having so many engineering points there? I don't know.
That's where it irritated me to no end when they called it Windows Phone and not Windows Mobile. Because that was big enough for tablets, big enough for phones, or small enough for phones, and they called it Windows Phone, like dooming it to this device, and now it's probably going to end up merging.
Well, they changed the guidelines of the screen sizes too recently, right? So now you could put like Windows on a smaller screen size.
You know what's weird is in Windows 8. Windows 8 was tailored specifically for 1366 by 768. Obviously, it scales, the Metro stuff. Snap was designed for one specific resolution. I don't remember the number of pixels, but it was maybe 324 or whatever the number was. It was very specific. I never understood that because those apps are designed to auto layout and all that stuff. And now we're seeing 8.1 that you can snap it wherever you want. And these things can auto flow, and all the built-in apps do that, and that's great and everything. You know, it seems like this is something that would work fine on a phone as well. Why not just bring it to a phone? It auto rotates. It it scales to the display. You don't have to target. You know, it's so silly. That was one of the big things with Windows Phone 8. It's like we have 800 by 480, fine, and now we're going to support. Okay. And now we're going to support like two other very specific resolutions, like 720p and whatever the other 1280 by 768 or whatever it is. Okay. Why? Why limit yourself to it? Why can't they just auto scale to whatever the display is? Like this is 2013. This is how software should work. And so I think that's maybe the next version. And then they collide both from an API standpoint, and an underpinning standpoint, and then they just become the same thing.
Yeah, with 8.1 taking on higher res scaling, it seems like it makes
just
sense.
Any res. It should be any res. In other words, they went from 1 res to 3, and the next version should be any.
Like responsive design.
Yes. God forbid. Yeah.
That's what you want on an actual operating system. That's crazy.
It's crazy to target hard-coded resolutions.
There was
in this day and age.
There was that ad at the end of the keynote saying Windows everywhere, and they were showing a phone with a tablet and a desktop, showing the tiles and how they're very, very uniform. Even though those things are far apart. Windows Phone does not operate the same way as 8.1, and it does not. Well, RT works like 8.1, but if you have these two devices, they don't work the same.
They're getting better.
It's confusing.
Right? Yeah, they're getting there.
Well, one of them is getting there. I mean, that's the problem. Windows 8 has to kind of catch up in some ways with how Windows Phone has been for a while.
That's the crazy part.
And now Windows Phone is going to have to catch up in some ways the way that Windows multicolored tiles and all that kind of stuff. So obviously it's going to happen, but I'm just amazed they have to wait
They're going to slam into each other.
Yeah.
Before they slam into each other, let's take a small break for our last pick here. What do we have? Go to my PC, excuse me. Go to my PC. We have Leo Laporte to tell us about that.
Oh, hi. Sorry. One more interruption, if you don't mind. Paul, Mary, Joe, hope you're having fun. Hope they got you everything you need. Rafael, good to see you, and everybody from the Build Conference. I'm really sorry I can't be with you today. But I did want to interrupt and mention our fine sponsor, Go to My PC from Citrix, the best remote access ever. You know, we mentioned this on Twitter. The guy who created Citrix, who founded it in 1989, just passed away. What a great guy. Ed Yacobucci. He was only 59. We love him, and we miss him dearly. He was a really important person in the PC industry. He started Citrix because he knew more about remote access than anyone, and I'll tell you how. He was working at IBM, working on OS2, when IBM did a trade with Microsoft. IBMers working on OS2 came to Redmond to work on the first version of Windows NT, and Microsoft engineers went down to Boca to work on OS2. Ed was one of the engineers who worked on the NT kernel. In fact, some say he wrote some of the most important code on the NT kernel, and it was from that he got the deep understanding of what remote access needed to be, of how it could work, and created Citrix in 1989. Of course, he licensed back the technology to Microsoft. To this day, a lot of remote desktop comes from Citrix, and its consumer version, Go to My PC, is, as a result, the fastest, bestest, most secure way you can access your office computer anywhere. You know, now that the weather's great, kids are out of school, I know you'd love to get out of the office, but sometimes there's just stuff that has to be done. The good news is, even though you don't want to be at work, there's still work to do, and you can do it wherever you are. You can be productive. You can't escape the office with Go to My PC. Turns any computer or your iPad, your iPhone, your Android device into your office computer, Windows or Mac, so you can be at work anywhere, the park, the pool, at the airport, on the way to Honolulu Bay. Go to My PC from Citrix. It gives you secure remote access to your office Mac or PC. You can send and receive email, run any program, access any network resource just as if you were right there, even on an iPad, even on an iPhone, even on an Android phone. That is amazing. We use it all the time, and I know you're going to want to use it. In fact, right now, I've got a 30-day free trial just in time for vacation time. Visit gotomypc.com, GOTOMYPC.com. Click the Try It Free button. The offer code is Windows. You'll have 30 days free, then download the free app to your mobile device and hit the road. Remote access. It couldn't be easier. You don't need to get the IT department involved. It's just secure, simple, fast. It's Go to My PC from Citrix. Gotomypc.com. Use the offer code Windows. And now we return to Windows Weekly, guys.
Nice.
Well, you know, when you go out to the Build Conference, you got to do the infamous.
That's like that Bill Gates photo when he was
That's
laying
absolutely what it is, and that is not as easy as it looks, because there's not a lot of that you. If you listen to the audio version of this, there's a photo of me in the Bill Gates pose on the Build sign that we took last night after the meetup.
That is awesome.
And there you go, and we also.
That was after a lot of beers, this picture.
Yeah, because Mary Jo usually doesn't.
By the way, that didn't need to be said, but.
No, I would do that normally. Just
was that before or after the phone tostrophe or whatever?
Oh, this is after. That's an interesting word.
And the funny part, we were taking these pictures, the security people inside were like looking out, and then they were coming towards the door, like, what are they doing?
Like, what are you human beings doing to our sign right there?
That's awesome.
Kate Wolf in the chat room says, somebody's wife has a new background for their screen. Good for them.
Nice.
Go ahead and do that. But yeah, there's a cheesecake shot of me if you've ever wanted one. Why would you ever want that? Let's talk about the Surface Pro, because this is getting uncomfortable. So you guys got some new Surface Pros, and the deal is there was a lot of rumors about the Surface getting refreshed at Build. It didn't happen. Yeah. What's going on with that?
I never thought they were going to do it.
Great.
It's not the right time.
Never heard anything about that.
No, it's not the right time, because they're waiting for blue, right, for one thing. So it's going to be fall, probably. And they also are doing all these giveaways to dump inventory on the Surface RT.
Well, have you noticed it's kind of accelerated? So
it
started as, now you can buy one of these for $400.
Right.
And now it's like, seriously, just take it.
No, so they're clearing. They're right.
It is. Like, you didn't buy one at Tech Ed.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
All right, now you
just
can
please,
have it.
Take it.
No, so they're clearing inventory and they're getting ready to do it, right? But it's not the right time yet. And so many people, it was funny because
people
were
say,
walking.
remember last year they introduced it in June,
They
and so
did.
they said, well, this is really,
People saw people walking around with the bags. They're like, you have the Haswell one, don't you? I'm like, there isn't
Mm-hmm.
a Haswell one. They're like, no, let me see in your bag. I'm like, no. Yeah, so we don't have the Haswell ones.
No
we don't even know where
refresh.
they are.
I think that we will see a Haswell refresh as well as the ARM
October.
refresh in
October
GA++.
and November. Yeah.
And a mini tablet as well.
Yep.
And we don't know.
Is it just internals, you think? Any apologies when it comes to the design? They're like, well, we thought this through and this didn't work. Or they think it's just fun.
Look, I've heard all the standard complaints about Surface. For myself personally, I can't use it. The screen is too small. But come on, it's really well designed.
It is.
They're really nice machines.
I think the device itself is this like showcase piece.
Yeah.
It's what a device can be. It's not necessarily the one that everybody gets.
Yes.
Well, everyone got them this week, so I don't know what you mean. Actually, it is the one everyone gets. Wait long enough, and you will get one.
Yeah.
Well, every manufacturer trying out crazy different hybrid devices. So Microsoft has showed that off, obviously, with 30 minutes of.
I mean,
look at all the
imagine
devices.
a Surface 8.1 inch device compared to that Acer, which is otherwise a fabulous machine, obviously. But I mean, with that kind of build quality, with that kind
build
of material.
quality, get it? Ha.
Yeah.
Aha.
Well, by the way, so the Acer has an 8.1 inch screen, like 8.1, but it's running Windows 8.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of humor to be found here. The point is, I think a Surface Mini is going to be great.
They're going to do that. That's for sure.
Unless it's running RT, in which case it's going to suck.
I don't think it's going to run RT.
So,
well, like you're saying,
we'll see.
What if it's running in the Qualcomms?
Yeah. Okay. We'll see. We'll see.
But did the 16.9 form factor mess with it though? Like you were saying before, the 8 is strange because it's 16.9. Because when you switch it to portrait, it's like this giant tablet.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, and that's the point. So one of the big changes that has nothing to do with technology is they made licensing changes, and you can have whatever form factor now. So you could do a 4x3 machine if you wanted to.
Oh, so we'll change the game there.
Yeah, and the thing that's odd is I'd gotten some information that there were going to be 3 partner machines, meaning PC makers other than Microsoft, coming out with mini form factors in time for the holidays. And they confirmed that. Microsoft actually confirmed that at TechEd. They actually said that figure. They said there will be 3. This machine that came out this month, the Acer, which is publicly available, you can buy it, is not one of those machines, right? So we've got this one, which is running Windows 8. We've got 3 from partners running Windows 8.1, and then we know that there's going to be a Surface Mini as well. And so, I don't, does 5 mini tablets make a huge market? I don't know. But one of those is going to be really good, at least.
Yep.
Did you guys get to play with the 200 Windows Phone display thing?
I saw it. I didn't play with it.
200 Windows Phones put up together.
Yeah, that was
working
cool.
in conjunction, were they? Or were they just showing the random things? Anybody know?
It was showing like a single picture across the 200 phones. Yeah, that was the Nokia booth.
Did that explain the uptick in Windows Phone sales?
You had one phone and you could control the Bing Maps view.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
So you're saying there's a Bing map view that went across all the phones you could control from another phone.
Does that count for big market share? 'Cause 200 more devices are using it.
We are the 4%.
Yeah, I think the market share jumped from 3.1%.
Because of that 200.
Yeah.
You know what was so fun about this week, though? Everywhere you went, everybody had a Windows Phone. That was so cool. Like every restaurant, every bar.
And by the way, seriously, and what's more impressive about that, because that's true of any TechEd was like
Microsoft
that.
show,
This happened in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And
That's why
seriously,
it was so
it's
crazy.
like Apple zombie town when you walk around here, right?
is.
It's like hipsters and homeless people.
And it's hard to tell which one is which.
You know what I mean? No, seriously, like.
All right.
Right, but the way you can tell is the iPhone.
Yeah.
If they pull out an iPhone, they're a hipster. But to have this city be dominated by Windows phones was just, if only temporarily.
I know.
It was so awesome.
And Moscone, no less.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of Windows Phones.
What's that?
Free Nokia with Xbox.
A
Free Nokia with
free
Xbox?
Nokia with an Xbox.
Oh.
Lumia, yeah.
Yeah.
They're giving away Lumias now?
Listen, we'll do whatever we have to do to get market share. I don't know why.
Yeah, but when it comes to Xbox working with smartphones or any device, the Smart Glass brings it to just
Sure.
a lot of parity. I think that's one of the more unusual things about Xbox I keep seeing.
You know
is
what?
that they're on everything.
I know.
That's what like Microsoft, traditional software maker. They don't care.
But I do think there's going to be an advantage for Windows machines, whether they're phones or tablets or whatever, in that space, because there are those cross-platform capabilities that you can do that will go beyond Smart Glass. If they just do it, I do think that's a capability. I think the Office Mobile thing, like they just did on iPhone, is smart because there's a parity there with Windows Phone in a way, but Windows Phone has that thing built in. There are certain advantages to having it on Windows Phone, and it still gives the advantage to Windows devices overall, and that you can only get the full version of Office on a Windows device.
Yeah.
I think it's smart.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm going to throw in a news story right now.
Yeah.
We got B-Sky-B. They won a case over Microsoft over the name of SkyDrive in Europe. So either Microsoft's got to drop the name,
like they did with Metro, which never happened.
or pay fines, or they could just pay a royalty. I'm sure they could probably pull this off. What do you think's most likely to happen? Is SkyDrive in Europe going to be like Microsoft SkyDrive XYZ, or is it going to be just Microsoft Drive?
Microsoft Docs.
Yeah. Oh, that's horrible.
I think they'll license the name. And this is only in a particular country, right?
But they didn't do Metro.
Is this country Germany?
It's not.
Sandro Hives.
This sounds like a German company.
No, this is the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
United Kingdom.
But they didn't
Is it?
license
Okay.
the Metro name.
Well, but that was...
I know.
It's not
That's the,
an app.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So for Xbox, they call that new UI, right? I heard it called NUI. They call it NUI still. Why don't they call it NUI on Windows 8?
They have, it's
call
like
it?
Satan. Its names are Legion.
I see.
It's modern, it's immersive.
It
Was
Beelzebub.
Metro.
They don't even know what to call it. Like in so many sessions, they were like, so we're talking about Metro. We mean modern. We mean
Dean,
Windows Store.
Hatchman called it immersive. He still called it immersive.
He called it immersive. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, there's another one. Right?
Yep.
Tile
Yes.
World.
Yeah.
I think Tile World works, but
Yeah.
SkyDrive might get a new name. Apple usually ends up buying the rights to stuff like iPhone, right? That was another thing. They got iPhone.
Right, from
Cisco.
Cisco,
Right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that SkyDrive is too big of a brand for Microsoft now.
Yes.
If this had happened 5 years ago, things might have changed.
Right.
I think they're going to
Or
pay for
not.
this.
Wait a minute. Now their ads used to say to the cloud. They just call this, the to the cloud drive.
Yeah.
We're gonna trademark cloud, so screw you.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
Everybody else.
We do have $45 billion in the bank.
Yeah, there you go.
Drive. There we go. It's
Sure.
in the sky. Sky is blue. That'll totally work.
That will.
myazure.com.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Hailstorm.
Wow.
Drone
Hailstorm.
is coming.
Hailstorm, it's back.
Hailstorm. Nice.
Well, they can bring back a briefcase.
Yeah.
We got audience participation on this
question.
one.
We have a question from the audience.
Question from the audience.
No,
Live
get,
audience.
Get over there.
Have a seat, person.
Yes.
Today, Microsoft and Time Warner Cable announced that there's going to be 300 live television channels available
Right.
on the 360, but they obviously said no announcements for the Xbox One. What do you think that's going to mean for the Xbox One?
If you're on Fios today or Comcast, are you on one of those?
I'm on Comcast. We don't have live television. We have the...
they don't have it through the 360, you sure?
Yeah, they just have on demand.
Just on demand. Okay. So on Fios we do have live TV. So when I saw that announcement, it seemed like it was a big deal, and then I read it and I realized this is just the same thing we have on Fios. Not that that's not interesting, but it's not some new thing.
Do you think it?
I think that stuff goes forward to the Xbox One.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised Comcast doesn't have it.
I wish they did.
Time Warner's on everything. They're like on Roku. They're on a number of these set-top boxes out there. But you still need to have a subscription to Time Warner, and you need to have Xbox Live Gold.
Yes. Oh no. Right.
It's not like you're getting a chance for nothing.
Right.
But this is still a pretty good deal. So, for example, I don't know what the cost of anything is because my wife handles this stuff. But we have a Fios box in our living room that we pay for, obviously every month, and a subscription that we pay for.
Right.
And we have Xboxes, and so my kids
Xbox
could
in, actually.
Xbox in, yeah. So my kids could be in the cellar on an Xbox using the Fios app. They don't get the full spectrum of channels necessarily, but they get a lot of it. Live TV, and they get HBO to go. HBO Go is on there. We subscribe to HBO, and you get this. It's kind of a cheap way to if you already have the Xbox, especially in a kid's room or in a basement room or whatever. It's a way to get a lot of TV down there cheaply, more cheaply than paying the cable company for another hookup.
A coax hookup and then another box.
Right. I mean, it adds up. I'm just I'm not. It's not a 1-to-1 replacement, but it's a reasonable alternative in many situations.
Yeah, when I saw the story that was 300 channels, I was kind of interested in which one.
That's a lot. So,
Yeah.
by the way, I don't know what Fios has. I don't know if anyone knows, but 300 channels is a lot more than they have on the Fios.
And just when will it be the entire lineup at some point? It's just 300 channels, that's great and everything, but what about everything Time Warner offers at some point? Because they still want to sell you a box, because that's how you'll still be able to see everything.
They shouldn't care about selling a box. They should just care about selling a service, right? And they shouldn't care where that service goes. I mean, you as a Time Warner or Fios or Comcast subscriber should be able to access that content wherever you are.
You think that, huh?
I don't know, I'm a hippie or whatever, but yes, I do believe that.
You're going to be in a commune with channels coming through
a commune of
channels,
yes.
Yeah, I don't know when that's going to happen. That sounds absolutely wacky.
Okay. A matrix, if you will, of channels.
You can have them all in tiles.
Yeah,
And just watch them all at the same time.
Yeah.
In Germany.
Not in Germany. This would be in the United States. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, ESPN's on a bunch of things.
Yeah, it is all about ESPN. You're right, except for this year in Boston.
That's turned off. You don't miss ESPN on an Xbox.
We just canceled ESPN.
ESPN 3D is also dead, if you wanted to know about that. Shall we move on to the code name pick of the week? We actually have one.
We do.
And what is it?
Our code name pick of the week is Antares, which was the code name for Windows Azure Web Services. And the reason it's the pick this week is that went GA. That was announced during the keynote. And this is what's supposed to help you if you want to host a website on Azure, do it really much more easily and fast and fluidly. Yeah, I just said that.
Okay, so by the way.
And the press release is being put down now.
Yeah.
No, actually, interestingly, by the way, it's interesting that you said that. That's the first time that phrase has been said this week.
No, I heard it a couple times.
Oh, you did? Okay. So they didn't say it in any keynotes?
No, they didn't, which was good.
I mean, I
you know
thought
why they didn't.
Well, because Apple said it.
And?
Because it's not fast or
We're trying to change the legacy
Gotcha.
here. This is a new build under new management.
Oh, wow. Okay. All
That's
right.
all I'm going to say about that.
All right.
So there's code in the code names.
Yes.
As well. Okay.
Okay.
We got a software pick of the week. What could possibly?
Was any software released this week?
No.
Yes, of course.
The new Skype.
I am talking
right?
about ABC News on Windows Phone.
And don't forget Report coming up.
No, obviously the Windows 8.1 preview was released. I get a lot of questions, and I'm sure you do too. It's like, should I install this, right?
Right.
If you're writing another human being to ask whether you should install this, the answer is no. But that said, there are caveats and all kinds of things to think about. My own experience. I spent 7 hours. Sandra knows. We watched me. I think I swore and I had an awful day. But I actually I brought my Surface RT so I could install the 8.1 up, the preview as soon as possible, which I did. And it actually borked my system. It actually bricked it. And I've never seen this before. It's like this blue screen that I should have taken a picture of it. It said slash. It was like the. Does anyone you remember? Yeah, it was just. Anyway, the point was it's not going to boot. so Windows RT does everything slowly, including failing. So it took hours to get to this point. It was rebooting, and then it was like the blue screen, right? So I borrowed Mary Jo's computer.
But luckily, who had their Surface RT?
Mary Jo loves RT so much she travels with it.
I did.
So I borrowed her RT device. I made a recovery key, which if I had been using my head, I would have done in the beginning anyway. But booted the computer or the RT device with the recovery key and restored it back to 8, which is interesting. And I'm actually going to do it again. I was joking with Sandra yesterday that after spending literally 7.5 hours on this on day one. On day 2, I was going to do it again, but because I want to see if you can reset the computer back to 8, right? Because what Microsoft is saying is that if you put the Windows 8.1 preview on Windows RT, your only recourse is to go to Windows 8.1 RTM. That you can't go back. But that's and you.
Did you?
What happened?
You couldn't?
No,
Wow.
my driver for wired networking no longer worked.
Wow.
So I wanted to go back to 8, but I couldn't.
Wow.
So
Then I
how did you try to go back?
I went through the recovery.
Did you use a disk or the thing that's built in?
Built in.
All right, so I'm going to try it with the USB key because I'm very curious about this. I actually, based on what I saw, I wonder about this because I would be surprised if they blew away the. Well, it doesn't matter if they blow away the recovery partition because you're using a disk. So if you made the disk with 8, RT 1.0 or whatever, to me it seems like that should bring it back to the original. So I'm going to try it. I haven't had a chance. I meant to. Yeah. They get another Acer. But anyway, I'm going to do it. It won't be this weekend, but I'll do it.
This is the software pick of the week. Don't think that brick your device.
Yep, it's awesome. It's awesome. No, the reason I mention this is I have an article about downloading it, installing it, and there are just a couple of things you need to know. I mean, if you have Windows 8, you can use the web installer, which goes through the store, and that works, well. You can download an ISO. You can do a clean install with it if you want. If you have RT, you have no recourse. You have to go through the store. That's the only way you can do it. Make the recovery key just in case. I was surprised this could even happen on an RT device. There is a list that Microsoft has of certain devices that you cannot install this on. They're all current generation Atom devices. And this guy wrote me and he said, I'm using I feel so bad for this guy. I have a Samsung ATIV Smart PC, whatever, 500T, whatever it is. I can't get this thing installed. It's driving me crazy. And I said, I was really busy, obviously, this week at Build, and I wrote him back and I said, listen, I can't find the list right now, but there's a list somewhere of PCs that it won't work on. I know that's on the list because I have one. I noticed it. It's not going to work. And then he wrote me back and he said, oh, that's okay. I'll just install it on my ThinkPad tablet too. And I wrote him back. I said, you're going to think I'm messing with you. Actually, that's on the list too. Which I also noticed because I also have one of those. And so then I found there's a list. And so it's ThinkPad Tablet 2, Vivo Tab, ATIV Smart PC, HP ElitePad 900, HP NVX2, Fujitsu Arrows Tab. There's a couple of machines it just doesn't work with. So be aware of that stuff. But honestly,
they said that they're going to fix that by RTM.
Yes, of course, right. Yeah. All of those machines are current machines. Right. I mean, in the market today. So. They are going to work. And in fact, they'll fix it before RTM.
The HP NVX2 was like a big push by HP.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this is Microsoft just saying, the heck with you, because HP's been coming out with like Android desktop things. I've been messing with Microsoft a little bit, much more than I think they've ever done.
That is some sort of evil intelligence they simply don't have. But
they accidentally screwed with them. Accidental revenge is always good, isn't it?
I would love that was, if that was it. But anyway, I really think that this 8.1, even in preview form, represents a dramatic enough improvement of Windows 8 that especially for people who looked at Windows 8 and hated it and couldn't stand, you need to spend a little bit of time configuring it. One of the articles I'm going to write this coming week is how, as a desktop user, as I am, you can configure it to really hide all of that junk that you hate so much. Not all of it. It's kind of 90%, but it's such a significant improvement. And for those few people that do have Windows devices, like tablets, touch machines, you can also skip the desktop now if that's what you want to do, by and large. And so, I mean, it's not perfect. And again, I think if you have any question in your mind about whether or not you're competent enough to do this, maybe you should just, sit this one out. But I think most people who listen to this podcast, people hearing this from, obviously, you probably have already installed it. So.
You're installed it. You're listening to it right now.
Yeah.
Windows Weekly is on 8.1
on that device. Yeah, exactly.
Do we have a beer pick of the week?
I would pick this one right here. This is crazy.
You should do it today.
What do we have there?
Let's really shake it up. You do the beer.
I don't even know what this is. It's
recommended
like
by Jeff at the Petaluma Market.
Saint-Flouin Grand Cru Long Degustation. It's awesome. This is crazy.
Discount. So if you're in Petaluma, it's like $4 a bottle.
It's basically it's the Petaluma version of Pabst Blue Ribbon apparently. No,
it wasn't moving apparently.
No, it's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we got that as the beer pick of the week. I'm gonna say I like Shipwrecked. Shipwrecked.
Yes.
We're also starting a fund for Alex to buy a new phone. He's 1 year into a 2-year contract, I think.
Not even. That's right. You got your phone in November, right? Yeah.
Yikes.
Insurance, we don't know. Maybe we can just put. He think he has insurance.
If you think you have insurance, you don't.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It doesn't cover like drops.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Clearly.
Does it cover crazy attacks by women in the dark? No.
Well, this was well lit. Don't forget, we were at the meetup, so it was well lit. So,
okay.
might
technically count. We'll have to find out with his carrier some other day. We'll keep you updated on Windows Weekly. You guys keep checking in. So we should. I think we've come to a close this week. Let's thank Mary Jo. Where can people find you on the internet? Or maybe
today in Petaluma.
Today
if they want to find you in Petaluma, how can the audience find you in Petaluma?
I'll be checking beers on Untapped later tonight, so you can find me that way in Petaluma. But normally you can find me on allaboutmicrosoft.com and on Twitter, Mary Jo Foley. So that's pretty much it.
I love the update to the book, by the way.
Yeah, so Paul THURROTT is an author, Windows 8.1.
So Rafael,
sorry, excuse me. co-author. It's just been updated to 8.1 because Windows 8.1 is coming out. Windows 8.1 Secrets by Paul THURROTT and Rafael RIVERA. Fantastic.
I believe that's Riviera, by the way.
Riviera, excuse me. I lost. Oh, no, wait. See, when they upgraded, this is the 0.1 beta. They dropped a letter. You know,
it's actually Rivera.
Anyhow. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ripping out pages because things don't apply anymore.
Right. Ooh, that's bad. Yeah.
Okay. Paul, where can people find you on the interwebs?
WinSupersite.com and then @THURROTT on Twitter.
@THURROTT? Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
I'm positive.
You're positive?
Yeah.
You following me?
I am now.
You are now. Now you'll actually
it's
know.
It's like that guy with the blue shirt.
Yeah, that guy. I actually landed at IAS, and thankfully I still have it until Twitter takes it away from me. So you guys will be back next week for Windows Weekly on its regular time.
No, will we? It's the 4th of July.
You guys won't be back next week for Windows Weekly.
We will not.
Because for Thursday, Twit's taking the day off, so there won't be anything. So we're apologizing about that, but we're going to be having a good time barbecuing probably, celebrating our independence.
But the week after, Paul's going to be in New York.
Actually, I just found out I probably am not going to be in New York now, so...
Okay.
I got to figure that out.
All right, forget that. Sorry.
So what I'm saying is Windows Weekly, the show, will be back.
Sometime.
Do me a favor and subscribe. You can go to twit.tv/WW and you can go to subscribe and you can just get the podcast automatically delivered whenever the heck it comes out. Because sometimes it's Thursday, today it's Friday, next week we're off. It's wonky schedule. It's totally okay.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. It's still great content. You get it whenever we put it out there, apparently. And I'm pretty sure you'll have a Leo Laporte sitting actually in his office next week. So thank you guys for having me on as
thank you for
your yammerer in the middle. I've had a great time. You guys were awesome. I think that does it for us.
And thanks for the awesome audience.
Yeah,
Thank
really.
you guys for all coming. That
I want
was so awesome.
You guys need to be here every week.
Everybody needs to come.
Whoever
have
comes
beers.
here during the
I
week.
should say, we'll see you next time on Windows Weekly. That's where that closes. And thanks to all the guests that came on.
Yeah.
And Alex for running the show and dropping his phone and
Dropping his phone,
crashing his phone just for
so we
the
could
show.
have it on.
I know.
That was
what
awesome.
a guy, Team Flair. Actually, but this is Windows with Paul THURROTT. You go for it. I'll do it like this. Don't snore. This is Windows Weekly with Paul THURROTT and Mary Jo Foley, episode 318, recorded June 28th, 2013. Let's start with H8.1.